Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup and our second semi-final of the day. It's Sports Leary up against TheViper, looking to challenge Hera, already awaiting them in the grand final, and I couldn't be happier than to do it with anyone other than this man right here, Nilly, back on the cast. My friend, how are you today?
Lovely to be here, and especially looking forward to this crazy set, right? Leary, Viper, they have delivered for what feels like 10 years in a row now, and just remembering the last set the two of them provided. 4-3 Red Bull Wololo semifinals. If that was any indicator of what we are in for today, it's going to be a great set.
Yeah, you heard Doubt on the couch basically saying it feels like they just trade sets one after the other. So, if we follow that pattern, it was Leary who took it in the group stage of this, 3-2, which was another full best of 5. Perhaps it's the Viper's turn, but either way, it's a tall order for both of these players to put up 4 map victories in a best of 7 against the other. I think it'd be a good time for us to check in with that draft to see what the 7 maps we have in front of us are and the civs to accompany them. It's quite an interesting format in general throughout this tournament in terms of the way we arrive at the different civs and maps. Of course, with an admin pick there at the bottom, Pacific Isles is where we will start. Every other map from that point forward will be the losing player's choice of where we go. And then, of course, 8 civs apiece at their disposal. First thing that jumps to my eyes is, of course, Leary managing to secure Chinese.
Yeah, we're really surprised by that. In the group stage, Viper was actually the higher seed, and he snagged Chinese and got it on Bedouins, got the W there, and now Leary thinks, okay, that was a really strong choice. Maybe I should get that map win as well, and it will be a big question mark how Viper wants to address that.
Another thing that jumps out to me is just Sunburn in the pool. Probably the least played, if not the second least played map in this entire tournament. And so always makes me wonder if a player jumps to that, what they've got cooked up there. It is, of course, generally a pretty aggressive map at that. And then, of course, our other options, just for posterity's sake, we've got African Rebeds and Bypass to finalize the Viper's home maps, and then Arabia and Tiergarten to finalize the home maps over here for Leary.
Yeah, Sunburn, big, interesting map, right? As you said, we barely have seen it. It is kind of since the rush distance is so short, we've mainly seen 1TC play. I would think Portuguese makes a lot of sense there. Picked it early, tried to secure it as a home map before we see more map bans. And then the big question mark, like, how is Leary trying to defend that? What is good against Organ Guns?
Not just that. There's also what's not on this Civ draft that I think is important to talk about, Nilly. No Citadel. And just earlier today, I was sitting across from you on the couch, and I pretty emphatically said, I believe that Leary is the best Citadel player in the tournament, and yet he's the one who banned it.
Actually tricky, right? In the matchup in the group stage, he got Dravidians, though, right? Probably the best civilization for that map. He looked really sharp. You said the approach with going for the dock and then getting walled, the aggression, smooth transitions is really good for him. Apparently, he's more comfortable with Chinese on Bedouins and Arabia and Tiergarten.
Now, stylistically, how do you feel these players match up? Because I think it was even, I'll cite the Leary-Hera series that felt in some ways a little antithetical to the way that Leary would want to play. Very extended games, right? Typically, I do think of him as the person who's looking for those really clean timings, dealing a lot of damage with clean micro, closing it out before we hit that hour mark. And yet, maybe we're seeing an evolution of him as a player where he has more comfortability and confidence with going late, more akin to what we would have normally said Viper is really good at.
Or it's just Hera defending so well, right? Therefore pushing the game so long. Viper also known to defend a lot, but if you want to break the Viper, it feels like early aggression is your way to go, and that's where Leary typically shines.
Okay, well, of course, a number of these maps are able to go late. We saw a very late African Reed Beds in just the last series. Bypass as well, very much geared to do so. Tiergarten, that's one that can kind of sit in the middle. You see sometimes somebody able to break the other nice and early with some aggression around the wood lines, but once again, if you can stabilize, we're looking for Imperial Age timings and whatnot. Pacific Isles as well, the opportunity to go late. We had one of our most exciting Pacific Isles games actually with Leary up against Yo. Leary went for an early transported Vil for a forward dock. They split islands, and Yo was Spanish, in fact, during all of that. And so they had separate islands. It was monk pushes. It was just absolute chaos. They're landing their initial islands. Supremacy villagers came out at one point. And so who knows? For a map that I wasn't necessarily the most happy with coming into the tournament, I think it's delivered some of the best games all tournament long. But it looks we're diving in to that very first map of the day. Pacific Isles. It's Leary over here in the red, Viper in the blue, Saracens versus the Japanese.
Interesting that we did not see Byzantines here. I thought that could have been an option once to save that for a different situation here, and it will be Viper in the red, spawning in the bottom here. Japanese obviously loves to play those maps, right? Strong fishing ships, you save all that wood. I'm a bit surprised. I would have expected Armenians, though, thinking that they might be the best here.
Well, and especially with African reed beds in the pool, a lot of times you'll see a Japanese player go there, maybe look for the fish boom, and so a bit of a switch up here. Of course, Saracens, just known for being such a versatile civ, right? The market, of course, used to great effect as a civilization, and so I think Leary has a lot of options to be, in some ways, reactive throughout this game. And we'll have to see soon enough as the players reach out for their first docks. Again, you start with the transport on this map, and so the scouts should have pretty quickly been taken to those central islands. We do have an interesting generation where we got more of a banana and a circle versus two, generally even generations in the middle.
I would offer you a croissant.
Oh, croissant.
The right one, right?
Okay, yeah, no, I feel that. You're right.
Oh, scout here. Early landing. Can Viper pull this one off?
Oh, he's looking to make it happen, and if anyone could make it happen, but there he goes. He loads into the transport with 1 health and gets away, saving Private Ryan over there. And Leary will be on his merry way. Unfortunate not to get that final hit, and the Vil snipe. And the Viper back to the shorefish there, walls up, and is working away again. 1 health remaining to that villager as Loom comes in.
Whew. But Loom, does he really need it? Maybe he's scared of another single scout landing, but Leary just wants to get a good idea of the bigger island. It feels like going for the big land should be better for the one player, right? It just feels like you have so much more space to work with.
More space to work with, more safety in the late game from any water or naval play of your opponent, right? You can get some of your military production buildings built in a place where they're not going to be ranged by a bunch of ships. We'll see, though. Leary, of course, going to load up onto this transport, and this will be our first indication as to which of the two islands he prefers.
Distance would be right-hand side, takes the advantage of the Saracen. Double capacity here, and that will be a smooth transition. Should have some problems getting all the wood right now, but once that lumber camp finishes, he should be in a nice setup.
Yeah, going to be multiple trips on the other side for Viper to get all of his Vils over to that island, but we are splitting the difference on the map, okay? So Viper on the left here, and we've got Leary on the right. Both players on the way up to the Feudal Age, near identical timings between them as we have some health traded between the scouts. From there, the question is, any feudal aggression or just a smooth transition to the Castle Age? Given that they chose separate islands, I would kind of expect that there's a bit of a handshake and a move towards the Castle Age with maybe minimal water contest.
Thing is, Saracens typically wants to play galley, right? Their galleys shoot faster, and with galleys, you want to fight in big numbers. Want to have like 10, ideally, at least 6 galleys, want to micro them, and you need a lot of attention there. And if Viper wants to play fire galleys against that, he wants to make it messy. So he wants to fight on land and on water if he chooses to go for fire galleys.
So there's that fire galley in the queue and the double dot galley production on the other side. So Nilly is locked in here with the approach for both players, and it is important that the Viper scouted out that second dock position so he at least know where the galleys are coming from. We also have land military production buildings coming up. This is such an interesting map because of the forced attention into so many different areas.
How easily can Viper land here? Because like he will have archers on the island, but he needs to get to the other side. And Leary is playing double dock. This could be tricky for the Viper. He might actually need to send the transport to the top. He might potentially even go for the starting island of Leary.
Yeah, information is going to be so important here in the early stages of the game. You could see Leary recognizes that, trying to get as much information as he can about what Viper's going for. Would have seen that archery range, I believe. So won't be surprised by the production of archers. There it is. Thank you so much, Vodka, for showing us. But to your point, Nilly, with the galleys coming forward, if they can patrol this shoreline, it's going to be really difficult for a transport to make an effective landing. Viper then, of course, may be focused on pushing these galleys back and threatening the fish with the fire galleys of his own.
Now the transport going to the left-hand side. How many archers do you want to go to the other side? Maybe one spearman, two archers?
He's going to land the starting island.
Yeah,
just going to land the starting island.
That would be really, really nice. Obviously, Leary won't be aware of that. Already Protective Tower is trying to wall that. Leary's expecting the aggression over here.
Viper scouts this out, too. I mean, he's going to make it messy here just to try and force this villager to take a bit of extra time, even pull a second one over is Leary now to force the scout away. He does get the walls up, but if anything, that might convince him even more that this is where the pressure is supposed to come. As we see the transport ship being loaded up, fletching already for these archers. 3 archers is all you need to take a lot of vills down if they have fletching in as well.
I think he goes with 2 right now. Let's take a look at the starting island of Leary. Is there any protection? He's building a market. And oh, look at that. But those are walls. If you have the transport, you can easily get around them.
Exactly. So he might be, lulling himself into a false sense of security with these walls up. Of course, Viper will likely take the near shortest distance between 2 lines, drop those archers and that 1 spear off. He'll soon run into those walls and maybe have to reroute the transport ship back, just to get them around and actually harass these villagers a bit more effectively. Arriving to the wood line, he'll let Leary know that he's here, and now the question is, what's the response?
Incredible awareness here of Leary. Not losing a single villager yet. Kills the spearman most likely as well. Transporter out of position, and great micro there against the fishing ships.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful trade here for Leary. A fantastic defense at home, gets the blacksmith up, not yet lost any villagers, is forced off of the wood line, but not too much lost there for him. And like you said, a couple of eco kills already on water, trading out pretty effectively against those fire galleys that are trying to defend over there for the Viper. Meanwhile, we're taking a look at the resources up top your screen. Viper's resources looking slightly better in the race towards the Castle Age. A bit more food in the bank, a bit more gold in the bank. Could always make use of a market of his own, even though he's not the Saracens. But as I say that, it will be the Saracens player that sells the stone to try and balance the economy and catch up in that race to the Castle Age.
1 fishing ship dies now. Galley count, nice and healthy. Up to 8 pretty soon. Those 2 archers now landed around. Defensive tower there. Leary, nice defense so far.
Yeah, playing ultra safe in this situation. We already saw that first tower on his expanded island. Now we've got 2 towers back at home. The archers are going to try and dive below. They found a weak villager, but she hops into the tower just in time to keep herself alive. Now we do ring around the rosy for a bit until the villagers can ultimately close the distance. 1 archer goes down, and that really severely reduces the threat here on the home island here for Leary.
Did the villager go down there? I'm surprised. There's no like super low HP one, right?
The Eco KD did even up. Yeah, I guess so.
Wow.
It looked like she hopped in.
Yeah. Maybe
she died
shot
inside.
into the tower.
Yes, it's the rare arcing arrow up into the tower found its target and evens up in the KD. So that's why the eco numbers are 37 to 37. But it is Leary who's able to click to the castle age just a bit faster. 2 minutes away as we speak. I see it queued behind that villager there for the Viper, so not too far behind.
Lots of idols there, and has to build another transport. This will be tricky for the Viper to play. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go for a 2nd or 3rd dock. And look at that. His main island. He builds the front dock. And you want to play short distance. Beautiful move. Very likely to go for War Galley upgrade as soon as he goes Castle Age and tries to make it messy against Leary.
Yeah, loses his scout on the other island, so it's going to be a bit tougher for him to figure out what it is that Leary's going for when it comes to the land military. All that said, it will be Leary first to the Castle Age, first to grab those naval upgrades. We do see a stable being dropped here, so possibly thinking about landing some knights or camels of his own to start harassing the economy as the Viper looks to spread out and expand his eco. Eco upgrades coming in for both players. Fletching now here for Leary, just kind of prepping themselves for what will be much larger Castle Age battles in a short minute's time.
This could be really ugly for the Viper. He has no control over at the right-hand side. So we could see the Saracen player actually go for 1-2 knights here and then trying to land the starting island of the Viper. And he's not as well prepared as Leary is.
Yeah, even having to keep his fire galleys for the moment garrisoned within this dock. Of course, Leary has no idea what the numbers look like inside that dock, but working away on it with the galleys. War galley upgrade coming in, looking to drop that second TC. Adds a little protection and safety on top of increased villager production for him here. So I'd say things look pretty good for our Saracen player through 17 minutes in the game. But the Viper reaching the Castle Age as well. We'll see if he decides to click that War Galley upgrade or if he's satisfied to sit here with just Fire Galleys alone.
Interesting. Viper goes for the boom, goes for 3 TCs. Simply sees, okay, Leary's investing a lot, right? He went for fletching, he went for the War Galley upgrade, he has all the control, and Viper's trying to boom. But this will be a tricky game to play because of that transporter.
Extremely difficult. The dock is going to go down. He did in the end decide to click War Galley, but it was after the investment of Bowsaw and the extra 2 TCs, so looking to catch up and maybe even build a lead when it comes to villager production. And all that said, Nilly, I'll go back to our first discussion, which was which of the islands is ultimately a more secure and maybe long-term focused island. Maybe that's what's giving Viper the permission to say, fine, I'll concede the water to you for now because I feel safe enough to build up here. And then later look to extend back onto water with, you know, castles along the shoreline for safety.
Well, castles, obviously something in the very far future.
Right.
Maybe might even think about some towers, trying to get some control there. We have obviously the upgrade potentially for Japanese, but oh god, those knights will do so much damage.
Yeah, I worry significantly for the Viper when I see next to nothing in the queue from a military standpoint. We do have one monk on the way now, but I think that's on the, yeah, exactly, it's on the wrong island for the time being. The knights arrive to the gold, they'll push the Viper away. Now they're towards the woodline. Great quick walling here to avoid taking any extra damage, retreating with the final villager. But I mean, these knights left unchecked are still going to find massive damage, and you can see the monastery being rushed up behind just to have a response.
Yeah, and that's quite some investment, right? Those 2 knights, they can already go, but the monastery on the starting island won't be that pretty. The monk you can't really use. Typically 4 relics on this map, and most of the time it's 1 on each starting island and 1 of the 2 center islands. Viper actually pretty fortunate spot, has 3 relics on his main island.
Oh yeah,
But
there we go. Oh,
actually, it's close. That's
yeah, one got taken by the tide, just a little ways out. So that'll be a fun one to try and recover, especially in the face of War Galley aggression in between the 2 of his islands. I think this is where it gets a little bit scary, where you start to get surrounded by the War Galleys. It's hard to extend back out onto water until you drop those towers or a castle to control some part of the shoreline. Love that move too, just like you mentioned. After forcing the reaction at home, transport comes back, picks up those same 2 knights, and now he's looking to deal similar damage here on the main island, or on the central island, I should say, of the Viper.
Take a look, conversion's trying to go in. Can't really get it, knights too active. Tries to commit against the villagers here, but easily jumping into the town center.
Okay, knights will retreat. Good response there from the Viper. No knights have lost their lives just yet. Well, pretty low on health. Eco upgrades are starting to roll in as well, as I think the players are realizing that this one could be a long one. Not too much damage found either way. 13-4 stands the KD overall. 4-2 for the Eco KD, all in favor of Leary as the Saracens. Here comes a 4th TC for Leary as well. Just going to accelerate his economy, get himself up to that 100-plus villager state, look for the Imperial Age. And so let's start to talk about ideal compositions for these 2 players. What are they looking towards building into?
Since both players have an island on their own, and landing is just so easy to defend, especially because we already have military set up on our own island, I think this game will be decided via water control. So this will be full galleon, some fast fires from Japanese player, and then we have to think ahead. Wood will run out. Who is actually getting control on the edge of the map, because that's where most of the wood is in the late game.
Yeah, wood and the relics that you pointed out. And we already have Viper with 1 back at home in that monastery, bringing a second one in right now as we speak. And so if he can find himself 1 more, he secures the relic advantage, at least for a time being. Look at that. These guys are in lockstep right now. Both of them thinking about wheelbarrow at exactly the same time. The eco upgrades near identical across the board. And this is what we want to see, everybody, in game number 1 of a best-of-7 set between these 2 players, is both firing on all cylinders.
Yeah. It is like not a lot of fighting happening, but just trying to set yourself up to get the advantage going into Imperial Age. Viper, as we can see with the resources, already thinking, okay, time to go up pretty soon, has enough stone for a castle. We can say the same for Leary.
Yeah. Looking for castle placements now, right? Of course, as we mentioned, if Viper wants to get back on water, he's going to have to defend some shoreline, but he has his pick of the litter across all of his island. I would wonder if he goes for something, classically defensive and chooses not to contest the shoreline that's actually between the two islands and look to build up and move in with naval army to control the central area.
I think it would be a major mistake to build a castle in reach of the other main island to be trapped. Like, over here feels like a horrible castle. It has to be more in the center of the island.
And actually, I think we could take a learning from that very series, Leary versus Yo, where we saw that happen. A number of castles placed kind of along the central coastlines, making it very easy for either player to ultimately treb those down. I think we see the buildings being completed here for either player so that they can click up, and there are the resources for the Viper. So off we go, 3 minutes and counting to the Imperial Age. There has been a 10-villager lead built here for Leary, of course, moving out to that 4th TC while Viper elected to stay on 3. Knights still looking for any damage they can find, maybe a villager walking around that they could snipe and delay some production buildings. Okay, that's not a castle placement that I predicted.
But this should be a counter castle by the Viper. He has enough villagers. What is he doing? Why is he moving around? Wants to delete those farms? Is he that scared of the war galleys? I think if he pulled the villagers a bit earlier, he could have denied this.
And now the question is timing, right? Obviously, way more villagers committed to building here for the Viper, but with that delay of having to delete the farms to get this placement down, in the end, Leary's castle might also go up. We have the monk coming over, looking for a conversion, trying to delay. Taking a look at the health counts there, we do have the castle from the Viper going up. Can't range all of the villagers, though, so I think in the end, we have castle v castle on the home island of the Viper. Granted, he will be the first one to the Imperial Age.
I think this is absolutely fine for the Viper. Which is not fine is that those redock attempts are being spotted.
Yeah, this is going to make it majorly tough, right? What did we talk about? The fact that the Viper needs to have a protected shoreline in most cases in order to get the docks down. He will continue extending his dock placements down towards the western side, and now monks are coming over to push those ships away. So in the end, might be able to get them up. Guard tower now being invested into, along with more economy upgrades. We got Bodkin on the other side.
I think you could have squeezed in Jasama here, right? In the castle. The extra arrows for your towers. Right now you can't really use it. It has to finish before you reach Imtha, because then you want to produce traps.
All right, galleys have found those docks, but 3 of them came up before they do. And so the production of the fire ships begins. He'll have to keep these garrisoned for some time, make sure he's got the numbers where he feels confident to eject and take the water battle. Imperial Age arrives. Immediately, a treb is in the queue. Take a look at that, though. 2-man saw. Whenever I see something like that, it's telling me these players realize this one could go an hour and a half plus. And so the Viper is going to take advantage of those things early. We also love to see block printing up against an opponent's navy, fast fire ship coming in. And even another castle being dropped on his central island, while Leary will do the same, look to defend his expansion on the right-hand side.
This is still tricky for the Viper. He doesn't have a really good redocking spot, right? Right-hand side was spotted, left-hand side got spotted as well. That's why he's going for all those monks. But 3 monks won't be enough to kill all those war galleys. Yeah,
not just that, because he went for the more conservative castle placements, right? They don't really effectively control any shorelines. And so as long as Leary has his galleys in the right place at the right time, he can prevent the Viper from effectively getting back on water. Solid snipes here onto at least one of the monks, but 2 conversions went through. And so I think in the end, Viper will be happy with that trade. Chemistry on the way. That's going to help out with the trebs. We have 1 treb on the field already here for the Viper, working away on the home island, and a second one to follow here soon enough. Now we've got Galleon and Chemistry coming in on the other side alongside Handcart. So the economies are up and running. Now it's just about the army compositions and the unit control.
Let's remember, though, I think Saracens don't get shipwright. Their galleys shoot faster, but they still have to pay the full price. In the end, Japanese will get some reduction there. Can be nice for them, but if we have the full 80v80 fight on water, it will always be in favor for the Saracens.
You wanted it, we got it. Yasama completing in this moment. Of course, we'll need to see those towers put to great effect, but another phenomenal way, if this is going to become all about a water battle, to aid your ships in winning any engagement, littering shorelines with keeps and Yasama heated shot, of course, wanting to come in as well. Ballistics, devotion. I mean, at this point, we're going to fill out the tech trees of both of these civs, and I think then we return to the idea of the ideal compositions and finding the right engagements. Obviously, winning water is lovely. You still have to find a way to deal that killing blow every once in a while, which could require you to kind of transition back on land.
Or you're just trying to win water and starve the opponent on wood, right? If you completely surround their islands and they can't go for the extra wood lines at the side, that would be the rain. Oh, Viper tries to be super sneaky here.
Oh. Alright, shh, nobody go first.
Hello?
See what happens. We've got Leary patrolling a bunch of ships over there. On the western side, he's arriving at those 3 dock placements there from the Viper. This is a good find here from Leary as well, but enough vills are committed to the tower that it will ultimately go up. Viper just trying to establish some element of control here as we look at that choke point, that crucial choke point between the 2 islands. But just as you said, castles not usually wise to place in range of Trebs on the other side. Leary immediately finding a focus for his Trebs here with that tower going up and removes the docks over here for the Viper. Viper having to replace a whole bunch of them.
Nice find indeed. Those towers, yeah, you're kind of trying to buy yourself some time. Now Yasama coming in, better traps. Lots of food for the Viper. I think he could even consider selling quite a bit, but obviously price is not as good as for the Saracen player.
Yeah, Katsubaruto coming in, as Vodka shows us, the other unique tech here for the Japanese, allowing Trebs to pack and unpack incredibly quick. We already have cannon galleons out onto the field. I mean, this is starting to play into exactly what you said here, Nilly, with one player just opting for full water control and looking to starve their opponent out.
He lost the dock with shipwright. Has to research it again. Oh, that obviously takes a long time. Now, the production isn't as fast. You have to pay more wood. Loses that castle and will be heavily housed.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough for him to deal with, looking towards that central island for either a new castle to go up, and like you say, housed here with over 15 above his current pop limit means nothing will be produced for some time. Now investing into keep. Cannon galleons of his own. But right now, things are looking good for Leary. How about this landing, though, once again? Viper looking for any and every opportunity to make things messy here in this game. Pull Leary's attention so that he can finally get himself established on water.
Ooh, and traps together with keep will make it tricky. Tries to go for the defensive castle, tries to go for some traps. Still has 2 traps on the map, so can maybe find an answer to this, but this has to be annoying.
Oh, without a doubt, quite annoying. That first tower will go up. It is a castle in defense here from Leary, but he's going to have something respond to those trebuchets, or it'll go down as quickly as it went up. But while all of that is taking place over on Leary's island, we do have those docks falling one by one by one for the Viper. Oh, Monk took a treb shot to the dome and will go down. The tower is under fire. Viper looks to extend further here onto this island. Bracer, crossbow, thumb ring coming in. So thinking about land military as maybe his option to get back into this, disrupt the eco enough here from Leary that then the Navy doesn't matter as much.
Just struggled so much with getting unhoused. Like those cannon guns, they found so many kills already. It feels like he killed like 10 dogs, 2 castles, lots of houses, so much control in the center here, and just surrounding from both sides.
Yeah, this is a very tough one here for the Viper to kind of wiggle his way out of, trying to look to drop to more docks. Fast Fire's looking to do what they can against the galleons, but of course the numbers just aren't there yet here for the Viper, and a cannon galleon even rolling around to work on the Trebs here. I mean, a beautiful defense here from Leary while he keeps the numbers up. Out on water, 65 to 24 up there up top your screen in terms of military numbers. 10 villagers committed to bringing up every single dock, and just like that, another one goes down.
Yeah, brutal, right? He has like 5 docks left or something, and now heavy demos are joining the party, and then fast fires aren't really an option anymore for the Viper. Has to disengage from this.
Oh, and now it's about how you keep those heavy demos hidden, right? Right now they're in the mass of those ships, but I promise you they're in there, everybody. And you wait for your moment to strike, remove that meat shield. Here they come, swinging in. They'll find good purchase onto the ships here of the Viper, having to retreat even further, giving up more water control, giving up more positioning and more docks in the end. I think as well, his entire push on Leary's island has been stalled out. He's down to 1 TC of his own here on his central island. Things are looking ugly for the Snake.
production simply not there. Has 4 docks over here at the left-hand side. He can't really get onto the numbers. He has 23 ships in the queue. He can't get the resources on the map.
Yeah, not just getting the resources, but then grouping those ships up, right, and actually hitting a critical mass where he feels he can take this fight. While the queue looks decent from a numbers perspective, he just simply isn't matching the overall army count of Leary. Leary will take a moment to regroup, retreat a little bit, find a new opportunity to fight. He needs to be careful not to get pinched too much, as the Viper has dropped more docks on his home island down there in the south. So was thinking about trying to sandwich Leary in, and here comes some fast fires from behind. This could be big here for the Viper, but as I say that, more heavy demos start rolling in. It looks like the numbers and the production queue is still very strong for Leary. 10 in the queue for the Galleons. The Galleon number up to 35. He's also got 5 trebuchets, and I feel like soon enough we're going to see those transported right across the center over to Viper's Island to look to apply the pressure even more.
Viper only has 1 single trap to defend that. That was really well played on water, by the way, from Leary. I think you could have easily mismicroed that and lost all your cannon galleons, but look at that. Still 11 elite cannon galleons on the field. Yeah,
very impressive. Vodka pointing out as well that those relics that Viper had earlier secured are just sitting right now, completely, of use to him until he creates another monk, gets them garrisoned into a new monastery. More towers going up here along the shoreline, just trying to make sure that he can keep those docks healthy, keep the production up, and eventually contest the Saracen player on water. But every time I look back up at that scoreboard, I see 2x the military count here for Leary, and Viper struggling to get past that 30 mark.
Absolutely brutal. Now Galleon's trying to take the fight, but Galleon v Galleon, not really your option. Tower's trying to help from distance. Maybe Cannon Galleons can get some good shots in, but they didn't even shoot yet.
And if we thought the production was good already here from Leary, conscriptions on the way means the reinforcements come even faster. Another slate of heavy demos there at the back of that massive army there for Leary, waiting for his moment to strike. The Cannon Galleons are going to make quick work of those keeps in the Yasama towers. This is looking ugly for the Viper. I don't see a response. Right now he's just hanging on by a thread, but I don't see an actual win condition here.
Incredible demo use by Leary. He doesn't have that many, but he just uses them so perfectly. Viper always has to split, has to disengage there, and then Leary can always take better fights over and over again. And
Castle going up as well. Leary feels like he has enough control. Those trebuchets have finally been brought to the other side. Villagers bringing up a castle. And this is the killing blow that he's looking for. He continues to push the Viper off water. The docks, you can just follow him in a clockwise formation around the island. They keep going up there on the mini-map as more fall. The numbers dropping now below 20 as the numbers climb above 75 in the military count here for Leary. He's been pop-capped this entire time. Viper's moving in the wrong direction in that regard.
Viper, 0 traps. He doesn't have an answer to this landing. He's now building some crossbows. He needs those resources on land, but on water as well. But what is that, like dock number 20 going down?
I would love to have a statistic of amount of wood invested into docks here for the Viper by the end of this one. It feels like Leary hasn't lost a dock this entire game.
Take a look at the damage on those cannon galleons. It should be 10 cannon galleons, and they got so many shots off. Can't see it. What gets to type it? Something like 17.6K?
It kind of looked like a 7 there, so yeah, and maybe ticking up to 18.6K. I mean, it's astronomical numbers when you consider the amount of health that a dock has. Those 6 alone have killed double-digit docks, and once again, the Viper, I mean, he's looking to stick in this one, whether or not he sees a win condition for himself or is continuing to warm those fingers up. Don't forget, this is a long set, and I know a number of our players, even if they feel like they're in a losing situation, they want to make sure that, they're physically ready and warmed up for that second game and able to strike back. Now below 85 villagers is the Viper. The military count still struggling to get above 25. Barely over 100 in the total population, while we see 199 on the other side here for Leary. 90 military under his control, and more of the map falls in his favor.
Yeah, this is only the phase where Viper just tries to get it to the rhythm, tries to get the macro rolling. This is an unwinnable game for him. This is more, okay, let's get into the mindset and get my fingers warm, so game 2 doesn't get out of control that quickly.
Well, there you go. Feels like that's about the time to tap out, and Leary will go up 1-0 in the series as we check in with the players, see if there's any friendly discussion. I wouldn't necessarily expect between these two and with the intensity of this moment and this series for them to be super chatty Cathys, as they say.
Also, Viper, noble man, doesn't talk when he's food in his mouth.
Oh, that's good etiquette, everybody. Take a note from the snake.
And yeah, this is a game to shake off for the Viper. I liked his approach, right? Fire Galley and the Archers, but Leary's reaction, the preemptive walls, tower at home, he knew exactly what was coming. Like, the scout being at the perfect moment and scouting the archer range at like 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Another player scouts it when 3 archers are in your woodline.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. There's a distinct possibility none of that walling happens if he doesn't scout that archery range, right? And he plays in a more greedy fashion and is forced to react only when the fletching archers arrive. So, beautiful response from him with the information that he gathered, and that's why you got to have your scout in constant motion there, friends. And so while it was the Viper who ended up on maybe the island that we favored between the two, it came down to exactly what you talked about, control over the water, right? It doesn't matter how much of the ultimate landmass you have under your control if you can never find a way to actually use that to assault your opponent and you're taking fire from all sides.
Yeah. Also, the island being a bit smaller meant the resources are closer together, and therefore one tower was protecting more resources at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So Leary didn't have to invest too much to spread himself too thin for the defense.
Yeah, and also those knights, right? For as effectively as he himself defended against the landing of the archers, I feel like his landing was quite effective in the 2 knights, first to Viper's home base, then to Viper's expansion in the middle. Just, again, getting more information, but forcing reactions, forcing that monastery to come up, and 100 gold invested into that monk. Was also able to get up to a 4th TC, so perhaps you could argue had just the slightest of eco advantages as we moved into the post-Imperial age, and the production was there, the micro was there with the heavy demos as well. And off we go to game number 2, but not before we go to a quick break. We'll see you back here in just a bit.
And now, a word from our partners.
A mouse! A mouse!
What is it, dear? Why you rage? Oh, honey. That's no ordinary mouse. It's the UH Reaper 250. With this mouse in your household, you never have to be scared again.
Yes, the U-Rage Reaper 250, featuring DPI control, advanced ergonomics, RGB lighting, and customizable buttons, is the perfect addition to every competitive household. Why U-Rage? It's all good. Get yours on mueller.de.
Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup. Game number 2 between the Viper and Leary. It was Leary who took game number 1 on Pacific Isles. That means it's Viper's choice of where we go next. Of course, we were already talking a little bit about our expectations being subverted in the Civ choice on that first map, maybe thinking Armenians would have been the pick. And then you question, okay, so what will go to African reed beds where I would have normally placed Japanese? And of course, you're still staring down the barrel of a Chinese pick on Bedouins, which I just struggle to find a good response to, as we've seen all tournament long. And so, where do we go? Do you go Sunburn? Do you just try and throw the curveball early in the set?
And trying to play Portuguese early could be an option. Viper, I think, did he really feel like he was in the set, really? Or does he need another warm-up game? Maybe just a standard Arabia. Just play it, trying to macro it out and get some more control might be an approach for him as well. But he doesn't want to go down to 0.
It will be that curveball of Sunburn here in game number 2. And as you can see at the top of your screens, the Viper in red playing as the Khmer up against the Lithuanians here for Leary in the blue.
Super short distance means mobility isn't that important. Skirm, spear, way better than your typical scout play here. And, well, that's a lot of resources at the left-hand side for both of the players. So feels like both could open with Skirm and the archer range here at the left-hand side. Yeah. And then Lithuanians, more food at the start, faster moving Skirms. Quite a nice setup for them.
Yeah, they'll be happy to click up early, have lots of options available to them, even if they just want to go into a spear skirm opening, play defensively. I am curious with the Khmer pick, right? A bonus often cited, maybe not often played with here on Sunburn, of course, is the ability to go for military buildings without having to put the prerequisite down of the barracks or even go up to the next age with without the prerequisite buildings. I highly doubt we're going to see a greedy fast castle attempt here in the face of feudal aggression, but maybe Viper is thinking about using in early uptime and saving of the wood to go straight for scouts or archers and just kind of pen his opponent in.
Scout Archer would obviously be the dream, but short distance and so much faster moving units there for Spear Skirm. Viper could easily die before that. If we were talking about Arabia, that is the ideal composition, right? You can wall a bit, but here with both berries close to like one screen away from each other, going for scouts feels super risky.
Well, one boar apiece that's already been brought in for each player. Now they push the zebras. Here we have Loom coming in for the Viper, so already thinking about clicking up as long as he can get the food dropped off. At the end of all of this, 18 bills apiece. 3 in the queue here for Leary, so he's thinking about...
Viper goes for an archer.
Yeah.
It is Scout Archer?
Mm-hmm. It's a fast uptime straight into archers. He doesn't have to build that barracks. He saves a lot of wood, can get the production of the archers out quickly.
Leary's completely out of position with their scout. He's still pushing another zero.
He's still building villagers. He's got 500 food. He's got 20 vills out onto the field. He's queued up another one.
Is he trying to out-mind game the Viper? Thinking, okay, Khmer, you're going fast castle. I'm going fast castle myself. Now he's playing Loom, pop 22. That's not your typical aggressive time. Leary's going fast castle, and he will be surprised seeing archers pretty soon.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you see the feudal age timing from the Viper, do you have to abandon the castle edge strategy?
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, how can you control the gold, right? Your tower, you need to rush it. Those resources are really close together. Oh, what a mind game by Leary.
Yeah, he's got 2 golds here, a little bit further back, but they're just below a hill as well, right? And that's going to be tough to maintain control if you don't have army numbers. 20 seconds away here is the Viper from the feudal age. He's got his scout over here on the left-hand side, so he's spotted the berry position. He's going to see this gold here in just a moment.
I'm looking at Leary's face now. We were for feudal age. Will he have any reaction? How cool will he be? He knows aggression has to be coming in his direction.
And not a muscle move. I did see eyes flick up to the left-hand side, but outside of that, not too much. He's locked in. He's dropping the barracks. Look at how close he's bringing these buildings to the TC, right? I think he's already prepared for the fact that this is going to be, a pretty claustrophobic game for him.
Yeah.
We've got double bid axe completing here for the Viper. Back at home, the archery range looks to already be up with 2 archers in the queue. I'd expect them to come forward one by one since there's no real threat of them being picked off as long as the scout.
Not a Viper move, but if he was a bit more decisive here, moving forward with villagers and trying to tower rush this area could have been an option. Push them away from the berries, from the gold, and then all of a sudden you need to do something on the right-hand side. There will be the stable from Leary. Has to be the blacksmith after that. But where do you get the food from now?
Right.
Oh, there will be so many dead resources.
Yeah, he's pushed off of the berries. He just has that one zebra that he's still working on. There's really no shot that you make it to 800 food at this point. At least not organically, right?
Archer 2. Look at that.
All the way out to these other
Viper
berries.
realizes the archers are instantly going to the other side.
Oh,
what a
this
read.
is such a heads-up play. Exactly. If I've pushed you off of these berries, the only other option you have is the berries on the other side of the map. So just as quickly as one archer arrives here, Fletching is on the way, and the second archer goes to the eastern side. It is going to be that pincer move here from the Viper. The question is, can he pull it off? That is still a half-health scout that finds the archer, looking to take the position on the hill, and ultimately, I think, wins out in this battle as Fletching completes in this moment. One archer down, but a second one on the way.
It's a nice harassment here. Tries to wall this one in. Really? Really? An archer?
That Vill goes down, and we have the diagonal hits. The Vill goes down, and not what you want to see out of Leary. An investment of villager time, some resources, and still losing the villager life in the end. Viper will micro away.
I don't see C time. Dash, look at that.
Yeah, it's just climbing.
He's at 750 food.
Oh, dropping farms.
2 minutes.
He's dropping farms, no double bid axe, no horse collar, so it's a huge investment of wood for just the sake of getting himself that click to the castle age. He has it now. He manages to click. There are, I think, some villagers that escaped down to the south to find a zebra, of all things, coming home with the necessary 125-ish food. Either way, this is an ugly start here from Leary. 6 villagers down.
Archer. Safe. Goes for another lumber camp there.
Oh, He's going to get through with these because I don't think... Maybe the Viper can manage to snipe one. Probably. Oh, he goes for the scout instead. Does end up taking that life. Leary gets back with the villagers, but you just
those
have no
two are in
space.
danger. Those two are in danger, no?
Yeah, groups these archers up. Ooh, poor pathing here for this villager means she will go down if the micro is there from the Viper. Another Vill dead. 28 to 20 now in the villager count. Leary's going to try and extend back out to the left-hand side. The question is if Viper becomes aware of that, making use of the scout. Didn't see it on their exit. But either way, I think Viper will just keep the production up here of the archers. You see 6 on the field, now 2 more in the queue.
Maybe Leary just read the handbook and like, oh, you can advance to the castle age and get additional techs and can build mighty knights. But you need gold for that. He has 6 gold, 0 villagers on gold. He doesn't gain anything from being castle age.
No, and he's just going out for more food, right? Like you say, but all 3 of the gold positions are being essentially camped here from the Viper. Even the wood line is under threat.
Yeah.
We have a farming economy and nothing else. So we're going to castle for castle age scouts.
Oh boy. What? More line of sight, maybe? Not even sure about that.
Yeah, he hasn't even been able to get the food for a single armor upgrade, right? Again, anything you could have done in the feudal age. We do lose a couple archers there to the TC, and that buys Leary just a moment to get out with some villagers. That could be a saving grace.
Viper doesn't trust that Leary has no gold. He added the barracks, he's adding some spearmen. The reaction to potential knights, I like that.
Yeah, and Leary will get himself onto gold, maybe realizing that in losing those archers on the right-hand side, that was going to be Leary's opportunity to get out to that extra gold position over here. So this will be Leary's best opportunity to get back into this game as he hits the castle age. Looks to produce knights, still needs gold to come through, still needs food at this point to keep both his TC running and knight production. Trying to drop an extra TC here as the spear and 1 archer arrive. 2 more archers, or another archer and another spear arriving as well. I think this is going to be some villagers going down. A number of them fairly low health. Might be able to manage to get this TC up as he pulls more villagers from the farming economy over. This is it. It's do or die right now for Leary. If the TC doesn't go up, he's in the position to call the GG. I think he's pulled enough villagers to make it happen, but it's such an investment of time. It's such an investment here in terms of not working and pulling in more resources. I mean, we still haven't had a single knight produced, but he's just trying to force this TC up and secure himself a gold position for the rest of the game.
How did Leary not lose a single villager? It's the first one going down, I believe. This should have been like 3, 4 dead vills. That was actually a really good micro. And now we see Lithuanian bonus. You get 1 extra food. Only need to add some more gold for every town center.
Okay. So Vills are on to gold safely. Through all of this, though, it's a 12 villager lead here for the Viper. He has a 7-0 military lead. He can completely close off the left-hand side of Leary's base, and now he transitioned into double stable himself as he's a minute and 40 away from the castle age.
I'm a bit surprised, honestly, by the double stable and the production of the archer behind it. I think just going like 3-4 spearmen, trying to be safe, and then double stable makes a lot of sense. Not really sure what the 5th archer is doing now.
I'm not certain either.
Oh, is he on stone? Am I seeing like 8 villagers moving on stone here?
Yeah.
Well, not 8, but quite some.
Yeah, 5 villagers to stone. Good catch there. We have bloodlines coming in. First armor upgrade here from the Viper, so it's very clear that he's thinking about, you know, a primarily cavalry unit, army composition.
I love the scout. Viper needs to know, because he knows, wow, I'm completely having you in a chokehold, then you kind of continue playing. Where are your villagers? Now he finds some, gets 2 more kills.
Yep. The snipe comes through, the arrow flies true, and Viper's happy with that. He also scouted the monastery, right? Another good use for that scout is going to be if I'm going into knights and you have monk in response, we're going to want some scouts or light cav on the field. Once again, harassing the wood line. This group of archers on the left-hand side of your screen has been camping out there for about 10 minutes straight. And now he's got another group over here on the right-hand side, just applying the squeeze, looking to suffocate Leary out of the game. Leary's done, I think, a phenomenal job after such a rough start to secure that gold and give himself a fighting chance, but it's going to be a massively uphill battle for him from this point forward.
Last night, monk out of position, easy snag for those scouts.
Yeah, 3 scouts come in. Now we have the Siege Workshop as well for the Viper. So very much this map playing out the way we would expect it to, with aggression, aggression, aggression.
Is this a spot for Rams? Or is this a Mangonel?
I vote for Ram, but he votes Scorpion.
Okay, the Viper way.
Why not? Why not?
Archers diving. So many low HP villagers again.
I don't know if you can commit to that, though. You don't have second armor on your scouts. You lose 1 archer, 1 spear. You do trade out for a single villager life, and you can camp these archers here. Ton of low-health villagers still trying to get back out to the wood and keep the income up. Another villager out of position here on the berries might go down to the scouts. We've got the monk just healing up low-health villagers. Honestly, probably the best use of that monk for the time being. First Scorpion comes forward. It's going to range the wood line. This is just such an unenviable position here for Leary to be in. The first of the knights onto the field here for the Viper. 2 more in the queue.
Viper bolts in the Scorpion.
Oh, no way. Oh, my goodness. It's a melee composition primarily here for Leary. So as that knight comes forward to try and deal with the Scorpion, boom. Walls come up. You won't find that kill. What an ingenious move. What a creative and ingenious move there from the Viper. Villager walks home. Job is done.
Have to love it. Now let's take a look here. Monk on the other side.
Ooh! Anything you can do, I can do better, baby. He walls in the monk to keep it alive against the scouts. You love to see it. You love to see the fight, the tenacity here out of Leary as he continues to try and absorb pressure. Now, remember, through all of this, everybody, he did drop that second TC. So if he can get the food eco back to a point of sustaining the villager production, will eventually catch up in those villagers. But in terms of resources collected, Nilly, 11K to 7K? I don't think I've ever seen a 4K differential like this quick in a game.
Yeah, they're absolutely brutal. And some of that was stone. Look at the stone count. Viper sending the villagers forward and not too few.
No. He sees his opportunity to end this game right here, right now, as Devotion is on its way. The castle will come forward. It's 20-plus villagers committed to this. Leary's going to see it. He's going to have no options to defend against it or to stop it from going up. Attempts the conversions on the scout, needs to garrison them in before the conversions come through. Now we'll attempt again on the knights. Viper with such great control over those scouts and the knights largely prevents any advantage being found here from Leary. The castle will go up. Viper moves back to wood, and that gold position is lost.
Uh-oh, let's take a look here. Scouts are trying to dive in. 2 monks down, third one in danger as well. Conversion, 1 only. That was good enough for the Viper.
Oh, yeah, this is a big fight for him. Taking the monks out, even taking a couple of villagers with him. It's 9-0 in the eco KD, even KD overall. But like I said, this is just sitting pretty here for the Viper. He's been unperturbed back at home. His eco rolling in exactly the way he wants it to be. You see 31 on wood there. I'm certain that a number of those will transition onto food soon enough. Okay, will he find this TC that Leary's going for? Wall's already coming up to try and make sure it goes up, and Leary, he decides he needs to tap out. The pressure is just non-stop. He was taking punches left and right, and the Viper will even us up at 1-1.
And that was pure mind games. That was Leary seeing the civilization of the Viper, thinking, okay, you are the sneaky boy, you can play some fast castle, I will counter you. Leary with the counter strategy too, something Viper didn't even play. And Viper actually had the perfect counter to what Leary played.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it, and I love the map choice, right? Because we were wondering, does he go for one more slower paced, warm-up game almost, quote-unquote, with something like Bypass in his pool, where you at least know that you're going to be making it to the Castle Age? In this case, it's time for me to change the pace of the series, and it's going to be me who comes striking first and fast. So love to see that out of him, bringing us to a 1-1 scenario and making sure that we're going to get at least 5 games in this series.
Have to love it. Oy. But that's obviously also something where Leary can easily say, that was a loss, but something that I can't be too sad about.
Right.
If Viper picks the different strategies, and neither player really scouted, right? Both were super greedy, pushing those deer. So this was like blind counter, and then a really unfortunate situation. Leary can just say, I played really well in game 1 and put myself in a good spot to potentially allow myself a comeback in game 2. Leary should still be happy with how he played.
Sometimes it's easier to shrug off those games that are lost to what feels like a cascading effect, right? One thing goes wrong early, okay, now I'm in a hole that's near impossible to dig myself out of. 1-1 stands the series score. We go to another quick break. When we come back, we'll see who takes the lead as we head into game 3. See you soon.
And now, a word from our partners. Tired of interruptions ruining your moment of peace? Discover true tranquility with the Hammer Bluetooth headphone Passion Voyage. With cutting-edge noise cancellation, immersive sound, and unmatched comfort in every note. Sounds like more Hammer.
Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup, where we're all tied up here in our second semi-final, 1-1 with many games to go. Let's pull up that map in Civ Draft. Let's see what we're working with here. As the shoe's on the other foot, Nilly, it's Leary now who gets to make a selection between the 5 remaining maps. Of course, his 3 home maps, Tiergarten, Arabia, Bedouins, and then we have African Rebeds and Bypass on the other side.
And the big question mark, Chinese on Bedouins. Is that just a free win for Leary? It feels like starting with those extra 3 villagers early on, you're already on Shorefish, your economy is just completely out of control. Viper, what could be his option against that?
I don't know, but exactly like you say, I think Viper, maybe more than a number of other players, sometimes recognizes within drafts that there are just lost games. And you don't play to win a losing game, right? So you don't say, oh, I'm going to go throw away one of my better civs just to maybe beat the most picked civ in the entire tournament. Bedouins it is. It is going to be that Chinese pick, of course, for Leary. No surprises there. On the other side, the response is the Romans.
Trying to compensate with the 3 extra villagers. Leary's actually starting with minus 100 food. But simply sending 3 villagers on the right-hand side instantly to Shorefish, fastest food income in the game, means he will quickly get to those 100 food to queue up 2 more villagers, just adds up loom and we'll be fine from the start.
Yeah, so for those of you who are wondering why it is that the Chinese are so effective, particularly in this tournament and on this map, it is because of the ability with the 9-vil start to collect that food while the TC's going up, where normally you would have to wait and then struggle to recoup that food later on. TC positionings, I think, very relevant here. It's always a question on a Nomad start. What will be just the relative distance between the players, as well as their own proximity to resources? It does seem, of course, that these players are very close to each other, and I would expect, with the use of the sheep, that they'll become aware of that rather quickly. I'll note a very protected gold there from the Viper, but we'll have to take a look at the rest of the resources around him. I think Viper already rather clearly aware of where Leary is positioned, so this could be a very aggressive game.
We're thinking Leary should have the aggression early on, and Viper kind of needs to defend, right? And therefore having the wood line so close to a town center, gold directly next to a town center, is actually a dream scenario for the Viper. He mainly needs to think about those 3 villagers on the early mill.
Yeah, my only concern for him, and not even necessarily in the early game, but as the game develops, is no stone positions, right? So just finding defensive fortifications will be difficult. The first stone available to him is forward, right? And that would be an easily attacked position there from Leary. Leary, I think, maybe having a bit more openness and opportunity to expand behind his base while putting pressure forward. We got the boars coming in, both players just trying to get their food counts up as quickly as possible. You still have to race your way to the feudal age. And usually we'll see a scout or 2 come out, right? Just confirm information, maybe find those mill-vills that are littered around the map.
Also something we have to say, now people are confused, right? We overhyped Chinese, why they are so good. Romans also 5% faster working villagers. That also means 5% faster building of the starting town center, right? That's why we are not that far behind compared to completely generic civilization. Plus, obviously, be aware, Viper did not research loom yet.
Okay, there you have it. Look at the walling. Look at that walling.
What?
What? What a commitment to walls.
That is far away.
What are we protecting
What?
against there?
He wants to get those shoulders? That is really surprising to me.
Yeah, forgive us, everybody. This is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
It's such an investment of wood, and he knows where that TC is.
Does he? It's
right?
like Leary doesn't really know where Viper is, right? And he
Right, but Viper knows where he is.
full knowledge. Viper just
And
not
Leary's about to
sure.
find out.
Okay, let's think about it. Shorefish is really important on this map, and he only has one real lake that he has right now. So if he wants to control the other 2 lakes, he kind of has to make some weird walls happen. It just looks wild.
Yeah, there's the confirmation for Leary as to where Viper is. I mean, granted, we're confused by these walls, but the walls are coming up nonetheless, and they are extensive. So if the Viper can defend these walls, it is a very secure base.
It will be two different approaches. Very likely, Leary just going for scouts, and the Viper will actually play archers.
Well, if
Archers field.
it's scouts from Leary, then these walls might work, right? As long you just have to have villagers within range, right, to house wall behind or repair. But it could ultimately work for the Viper here, dropping that mill, trying to make use of the shorefish, but crazy investment of wood into these palisade walls, and it's Leary who gets up first. We have double bid axe and stable dropped. A minute to go here till the feudal age for the Viper. He, of course, though, has already built his walls up around his base. And so, again, protected against the melee units initially.
Fully walled the Viper. This is actually really solid for him.
Okay.
Quite an investment. Leary will be surprised. Obviously, he will have the aggression. Likely to follow up with an archer range, add some skirmishers there. I would be surprised if Viper finds too many kills, but at least he won't take any losses. And then, short distance. Dreaming of some scorpions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's 100% going to be scorpions in this game. We've seen them used to great effect throughout the tournament, particularly for the Romans. And I would say at this point, every minute that passes, Viper's going to feel more and more comfortable because of that eco bonus that you talked about. Well, I think in a number of other matchups against the Chinese, you do have in the back of your head this idea that, they're ahead of me in economy. They've got the extra villagers. But in fact, you're clawing your way back into the resource collected lead here just by virtue of having that 5% boost to your eco. We're going to match eco upgrades here with the double bid axe for the Viper. That's a stable in response.
Just fast castle. I'm not that good in history, but the Great Wall was built to keep the Chinese out?
You might be right. I know it had something to do with the Chinese. No. Maybe the Chinese here will have to build a Great Wall of their own, as we see Leary, I think, already becoming well aware that maybe the damage he was looking for early with a scout or two. Look, he stays on one scout. He gets the info on the walls. He stays on one scout.
Farm upgrade? That's really weird to me as well. And I think that farmer only has 175 HP. Food.
Just call the GG now. Just hang it up. He's washed. Stone walls. We were kind of joking about the Great Wall, and yet it looks like maybe it will come through here for Leary. I think once again the players have maybe quickly realized, or at least Leary's realized, that no, it isn't going to be an aggressive version of Bedouins here. Stops on one scout production, starts to wall up, and both players are already thinking about the Castle Age.
But that's a bit of the repeat of yesterday's hard against Mr. Yo. Right, where Yo had so much more map control and could just expand. More food, more gold, like wood control as well. Obviously not that important, but you get all the stone. And that's all for Leary right now.
Right.
But really limited. He has no stone in there and only 2 gold spots.
Okay, never mind. I said both players thinking about Castle Age.
Scouts left-hand side.
Exactly. Only one player's thinking about Castle Age. The other is thinking about killing in the feudal. We have Bloodlines and Forging on the way. I think Viper's going to wait for these to come in. He's going out for the walls now. These are a couple villagers that are going to be found. He's got 2 spears, 3 scouts. Forging just 14 seconds away from completing. That's 1 dead vill, a second dead vill for sure. And now the walls come up around the wood line. It might be time to panic here for Leary.
We'll lose one. Nice wall at the top. We'll lose the second one. The gold needs to be walled quickly. But still, Bloodlines and Forging, that's not paying off. Those 3 scouts could have done the same without the upgrades.
That's a very good point. It's huge investment here, looking for damage, and the walls came up quickly around the wood line and the gold for Leary. He's also looking to produce some archers, now realizing perhaps I need to put up some level of defense against these units. Didn't manage to get his walls up in the end. We've got a 1 villager lead here for the Viper. He's been housed for quite some time, I will point out.
Typical Viper. That was a big investment. Those scouts, not sure if that really paid. Like, 2 villager finds are nice. Then he kind of stopped as well.
You spent, what, 300 food?
300 food, 100 gold.
Yeah, that's quite an investment of resources for 100 food worth of kills.
Yeah, and this early in the game, right? If we thought about like on the way to Castle Age, that's fine, but this easily lays your Castle Age by probably 2 villagers.
Market going down for both players. Leary is the first to click. Viper now using that market to try and balance out the eco. Needs about 160 more food so that he can click up. Just a little bit behind his opponent.
How many Magnals will we see this game?
In total from each player?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go with...
No matter what you say, I go over.
You're going to go over no matter what? Then 1,253.
Okay, crossing my fingers.
Yeah, I think it'll be a significant number. Of course, I would imagine that the Romans player prefers to build into Scorpions, but, you know, as you see Mangonels come out in response to the Scorpions, you might need a few of your own to look for the trades. Now we have the armor upgrade coming in for those scouts. Now, this is a bit more akin to what we're seeing, right? On the way to the Castle Age, now I go for the military upgrades. The scouts will dive here onto the spear first, then look to turn their attention onto the archers. Good micro here from the Viper so far, trying to keep them away from the TC, and ultimately finds 3 kills for 1.
Oh, that was close. That was close. The villagers
Very
are blocking
close.
each other there. Spearman saved as well. One villager exposed to the left-hand side. Walls behind this one quite nicely. Opens with a camel to deal with those scouts.
He goes back and finds that Vil Walling, which he may do in just a short time. That would be another nice kill to find. We have a TC going up on the gold back there for Leary. So looking to be the first to expand the eco just a bit. More mills being dropped here for the
I hate
Viper.
that mill.
Because why not just wait for the TC?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can build it next to the gold, can maybe get a bit of wood. Obviously, mill, I can see why you need to transition eventually. But just the TC on the way to Castle Age would have felt natural.
Okay, Viper finds the TC but won't find any damage. Here comes the blacksmith here to complete the walls, at least on the western side here for Leary. 20 seconds away from the Castle Age for the Viper. He's got tons of resources in the bank. The question is how he'll use them. I'm seeing a lot of wood, maybe 2 TCs, up to 3. Are you looking for just some knights then for further harassment?
Yeah, trying to find something. I think those scouts will now split and just see, okay, it's Leary expanding somewhere. And yeah, we see instant siege, maybe some more spearmen added, the knights that you wanted to
10
see.
monks.
Yeah. Well, the distance is so short, right?
Yeah.
So this is, your arena composition will be extremely good.
Okay, monastery on either side, but it's only the siege workshop for the Roman player. For the time being, we now have knights in the queue, camels on the field, cav archers as well here from Leary, so quite the makeup for his army with fletching on the way. Bowsaw coming in for Viper to match the bowsaw on the other side. We've got Town Watch, actually love that here as well, just so that you have that early warning if you're going to have your opponent come crashing in against your walls. But with the siege workshop up, it's Ram first.
Ooh,
It's
wow.
the Ram I wanted in the last game, now in this game.
Sees all the houses, right? Unprotected there. Maybe some block on this knight. What a beautiful block! Gets the block off. Wow.
That was dirty. That was dirty there, Leary. But well played by him. Gets the first snipe there onto the knight. We've got Scorpions to follow that Ram. The Ram coming home just because it's not ready for the assault just yet. And now we have Leary working away on those palisade walls.
Not a lot of army against it. Losing that knight really hurt him.
Yeah, and you can't wall behind that with the cav archers very easily. So Leary's through. We do, of course, have some knights, monks. We got the Scorpion in response, so likely Leary gets pushed right back.
Not unlikely that we see a wall behind this, and then Viper focusing on the push through the center. TC now has to hope that the CA aren't going there. A bit of a risky move, but won't get punished.
Yeah, definitely a risky move, but lucky that the CA retreat back to the safety of their own base, and this establishes himself onto stone. We were talking about how the easiest or closest stone position, of course, sat between him and Leary, and so he'll be grateful to have found that stone position. We talk about whether or not those cav archers will find the TC. It's only going up with 4 villagers. So if he ever thinks to come down that way, no, it will get up safely. Light cav now here for the Viper coming in. We're up to 4 Scorpions with a 5th in the queue, so the numbers climb here. The Ram is forward, and now we're working away on the production buildings.
Some HP here, but we have 3 monks on the map pretty soon. Stable will die hand-caught by the Viper already. Villager number is not really high, but damn, they will be efficient. Look at that. 5 eco upgrades soon, plus Roman efficiency.
Yeah, things are looking good there. I'm taking a look on the other side. There's the first mangonel, so I hope you're counting. That's 1. That's 1 on the way to 1,253.
Okay.
Okay.
8CA, not really finding anything right now. I think it will be mainly Mangonel Micro and goes for the University. Early Ballistic maybe for those Scorpions.
Yeah, I don't mind just battering away on these houses, though. Like you said, you got 5 of them placed out here. Just destroy the wood investment, force your opponent to drop more and more houses to keep the pop space, especially while he's trying to, get that boom going on a couple of TCs. Viper, of course, has made it to 3 TCs, while Leary has elected to stay on 2.
Let's take a look first, Mangonel. Maybe you can just poke a bit with a light cav. Mangonel's actually a bit out of position. I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, could be the dive here from either the Light Cav or the Knights, and the Viper's thinking about it. Retreat from the Mangonel comes in. The Cav Archers come over to lend their hand in the battle. Monks as well for both players on the field. 3 here for Leary, 2 for the Viper, at least in this forward position. The Scorpions continue to fire away. The Ram will retreat underneath the ire of that Mangonel. Now we're diving in for the Mangonel kill, but good opportunities for conversions here. All 3 of them go over. I don't know if that's worth it at all there for the Viper.
Tries to get some conversions as well, not really using his second Monk behind there. Could have been more conversions a bit late. The Mangonel still shooting at the top. Survives because those Scorpions are just so strong, especially with Ballistic now finishing.
Almost feels like he got away with something there after how bad those conversions were, to only lose 1 Scorpion in all of that and get 1 conversion back from what could have been disastrous to maybe salvaged there in that moment. Now we've got Mangonel production on both sides, so that will be 3 so far for the course of the game. Just making quick work at these houses, continuing to apply pressure, and look at that. Top capped here for Leary as another one goes down.
Mangonel now popping. Let's take a look. There aren't a lot of Monks close by. Tries to dive again. This could again be 2-3 conversions. Nice block.
Will that Mangonel go down? It doesn't in the end, and the conversions come through. Yes, 1 Cav Archer, 2 Cav Archers perhaps getting converted back the other direction. Leary's defending well while continuing to lose houses. Honestly, this is the best time to be Chinese because he dropped that 3rd TC and got a nice boost in the pop cap, making use of the bonus there. Repairville comes forward, but not in time to save that Mangonel from a direct hit of Vipers. And now his Siege Workshop is under threat.
Yeah, 2 more Mangonels in the queue. Has another one somewhere. That's quite optimistic, but those CA.
Very optimistic, and he realizes it, backs off. The Mangonel pops out, does take 1 Scorpion, but now the Knight has set his sights. Here comes another convert attempt. The Monk behind the wood line should be able to find the conversion, but the Mangonel goes down and gets deleted before it comes through.
Perfect play for the Viper there. Was really fortunate that the conversion was so late. Now tries to go for a conversion himself, but that Siege Workshop gone. Quite some nice pressure, and he will continue. Leary has to build another one.
Atonement?
Atonement. Interesting move here to convert the Monks of Leary. Is that a second Siege Workshop? Wow.
Ooh, full Castle Age push. He's feeling it. He's feeling himself. He feels like he's got his foot on the gas pedal and that there's just not enough resistance on the other side. And funnily enough, Leary is just looking to expand towards the northern side of the map with a 4th TC. So this could get ugly fast if he doesn't keep the production up to defend against the increased aggression here from the Viper in just a moment. Another Mangonel on the field does finally get rid of that battering ram. Might find another kill onto a Scorpion here, so solid trades for this 1 Mangonel.
They got the kill. Monks right to gets 2!
That is a high-value Mangonel and gets saved by the villagers on top of all of that.
And lose another Scorpion here. That was a really nice move for Leary. Now the CA are coming in, knowing that is quite a reduction of those siege units.
Okay, we got 4 Scorpions here against a whole bunch of cavalry, both CA, Camels, and Knights. We got the Monks rolling forward. The Mangonel does eventually go down. The delete comes through on the Knight, but every single one of these Scorpions looks to be cleaned up.
That was a nice find here by Leary. Population, all the military behind this, quite even in numbers, but still better economy for the Roman play, obviously. Now the kill against those Monks got 1. We'll get the second one.
Yeah, Light Cav swooping in, get 2 Monk kills. They'll go down in return. But now it's Leary's opportunity to push forward. Exactly. He's going to spot as well the double Siege Workshop. Of course, flags on both, so you got to be careful here, wondering what exactly is garrisoned inside of those. 2 Mangonels for him. Handcart now on the way.
All Knights from both players. Or not from both players, from the Viper here. Both players with enough stone to build a castle pretty soon. Viper deletes those palisades. Maybe thinks about the castle there. Leary doesn't go for a crazy castle. And Viper, what? What is... He just built it completely on the other side of the map. That can't be the real castle that you... There's just so much pressure in your face, Viper.
Yeah, and I mean, he's trying to build up his numbers of Knights in the back here. Look, we see those numbers climbing up to 7 now. But other than that, it's just a few Scorpions. Okay, feels like he has the permission to eject. The Knights roll forward. The Monks start their conversions. 1 Mangonel down, a second one down. I'm sure that conversion will complete, and it does. But still a couple of Scorpions here to harass from the back line. Not going to be able to contest that castle. It will go up here for Leary, and as we mentioned, in a very safe position. More conversions looking to be found. We've got the Scorpions still working away. The trades are still looking pretty good here for Leary overall. with this siege investment from the Viper, but Imp on the way here.
Leary will click pretty soon as well. Viper still not decided where he wants to build the castle. Now he does. A bit further to the right-hand side, wants to expand and feels like, okay, with all your investment and my strong economy, I don't think I will be too far behind an Imp, and I'm ready to go for the trap wall.
Okay, Leary's going to see that. Don't think he can contest, though, with just 5 Cav Archers. The Knights well, if we're just passing, then maybe we can. Nope. The Cav come back. Leary is pushed away. And it's Viper who's first to the Imperial Age, so he'll have the first treb on the field.
Staying here. Viper not on stone anymore. This will be one single castle. Now tries to raid while Leary stays on stone. Wouldn't be surprised if he puts another castle there. It just fits like such an important area.
Okay, so as we've done on maps past, let's talk about those Imperial Age compositions. Wow, beautiful quick claw here from Leary. Of course, those villagers will be trapped until the ranged units can come over and help relieve them from their repairing duties. Runs away with the first 2. We bought a second castle.
300 stone bought.
By the way, here for the Viper. So really wants to lock down that center position on the map and give himself some safety from which he can treb his opponent. We have Camel Riders coming in and Chukanu in the queue. So maybe looking for that double cold composition, just one with food, one with wood here in the Imperial Age is Leary. On the side of Viper, I would expect continued Scorp production, but how do we support that? Is it full Knights and Light Cav?
Right now it just feels Chukunu won't really be on the field, right? The castle will be lost. Leary, he needs to build the castle a bit more defensively. But yeah, it just feels like Scorpion has to be the main thing. And oops, those villagers will be surprised by this.
Okay, 1 going down, 2 going down. That's the cost of the information of learning that there's
the top
a
at the same time. But nice reaction by Leary, so aware.
Yeah, very good reaction, but great raid as well for the Viper. Your opponent hasn't gotten full walls up while you're essentially full walled at home. You can go ahead and distract, buy yourself time, pull his military to all sorts of different places. We see more military production buildings coming down as that final armor upgrade for the cavalry comes through, and Squires being upgraded into. So we're definitely thinking about some form of infantry here for the Viper to support what is 2 trebs already on the way.
I think half heavy Scorpion is the dream army composition. Right, there's a lot of Cav on the field for Leary pretty soon, but Camels perform really poorly against Halberdiers.
Right, and then of course the Scorpions to deal with any Cav Archers or Chukanu.
Or anything.
That's a good point, yeah. In a good enough mass and with ballistics, they're essentially good against everything. Heavy Camel is going to be the play initially here for Leary as he sees those barracks going up. We've got 2 trebs on the field, getting that picture-in-picture to see how the fight breaks out between the Light Cav and the Camels, and it will be very close. More Camels arriving.
Really good fight for them. +1, +4 with Bloodlines against only 1 armor upgrade. Thought this would have been a losing fight, but Viper realizing, damn, my upgrades are fine. Still a bit surprised that we didn't see the Pikeman upgrade yet.
Yeah, Castle goes down. Well, as you say, Viper clicks it. So he was thinking the same thing. Camels looking for some raids, but not known to be the best raiding unit in the game. They run into some TCs. They will idle out the economy for the time being. Spears come over to respond. But I'm looking at those Scorpion numbers. I think that's really the key to the game here for the Romans. You get to a critical mass, you protect your trebuchets like no other, and you just push right up the gut. Already 1 castle down. Onager is the response for Leary.
Seems like a really good move, right? What other option do you have?
My question is, how many mangonels does an Onager count as? Because I feel like it should count as more than 1 in service of getting me to my 1253.
It counts for 1,000.
Okay. All right.
Still
now
taking the over.
I feel like I have a shot, though. I feel like I have a shot. Taking a look, though, back into the center of the map as Viper puts the pressure on. We do have trebuchets here for Leary. And for the moment, they'll push back the trebuchets of the Viper. The Scorpion numbers build up, but we haven't had heavy Scorpion come in just yet. It is Siege Engineers. That's going to be very useful. And continued infantry upgrades on the way here for the Viper. Oh, the Onagers, they pop out. Oh, that's a lot of good kills that they found already. We even have repairs here on one of them from Leary. And just like that, the numbers have fallen precipitously down. 0 Scorpions on the field.
Wow, overextending there. Leary realizing how great Onagers are here. Viper, he needs to go into the trap war now, but not a lot of control for him. And what's his production? Eco balance not really there. 60 on wood.
Yeah. And he recognizes it. We see that wood count dropping as he goes for Bodkin, now Blast Furnace as well. So setting up for really any makeup of army composition throughout the game. Romans, of course, lacking Bracer. And so that's about as good as they get when it comes to the ranged battle. And now one of his castles is under fire. Villager's coming over to repair, but he's got no stone.
No stone, and against 4 traps would have been tricky anyways. Viper, is his next step maybe going into the Legionary direction?
Possibly, but if you're going Legionary, you need more castles.
That's the champion line, I mean.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Centurion, right?
Yeah. Centurion going for 1-2 for the aura, right? Trying to help them out a bit. Could be an option.
I suppose.
That castle could go down.
But you don't want to go infantry, ultimately, I don't think, into Chukanu. And Onager.
Oh, Onager would be okay-ish if you split properly. It will be good against the camels. Uh-oh, those are really clumped up. The pikemen. Ooh, dodges the round attacks.
Manages to get away without losing too much health, but the second castle is now under fire. 4 Trebs will make quick work of that. The camel numbers look good at 15, even teching into light cav now. Pikemen of his own. Chukanu are back in production. 5 onagers, 5 trebuchets on the field. Here go the barracks, melting under this firepower. And now it's just going to be a race to rebuild production buildings, and we now see a second castle coming out here for Leary. Obviously won't be able to place it there as he runs into the houses, but can find another workable position for it soon enough. Halberdier almost completing. Heavy Scorpion did finally complete, so we are approaching that composition that we believe Viper wants to play with. He's just going to be kicking himself for having lost so many numbers a bit ago.
And no castle, right? It will be tricky to ever get onto proper trap numbers in case he loses those 4. And Onager is just so strong. No bombard cannons on the field, no redemption monks. Just tricky to really counter them. You have to dive in, and then Halberdier is really good at protecting them.
Okay, we're up to 4 Siege Workshop production on those Heavy Scorpions, 11 in the queue. Also Onagers of his own. Got to be careful with those Chukanu and their placements here, as the Heavy Scorpions will now start to really deal damage. If they...
Treb.
Ooh, there's another Treb down. So 2 Trebs will fall here for Leary. He packs the rest up. Needs to get them moving, though, as that Onager continues to creep forward there from the Viper. Responds just in time. This is a tough one to call here, Nilly. Both players looking with very healthy economies. 140 on the side of Viper, 129 on the side of Leary. Identical army counts. Chemistry now on the way here for Leary.
Now both players trying to go for the raids. Could be better for the Viper, simply because he already has all the upgrades there. Can do some Halberdiers for the defense, while Leary's still tacking into all those military upgrades.
I'm still trying to find the answer here for Leary. If Viper gets to that 20 to 30 score number, other than it's got to be Onager, I feel like, and just finding the absolute perfect shots.
I think you're also adding some ramps in front of it, trying to soak up the damage and then trying to move in with the Onagers. But if Viper is super aware, he will try to micro them down.
Yeah, now 2K food in the bank here for the Viper, by the way. And now teching into Cavalier with not much gold to work with, so he's going to have to find a bit more of an income there if he wants to sustain Cavalier production. But perhaps he's thinking, I just need a slightly tankier unit than my light cav to get in and snipe those Onagers, right? Buy a little space and make some room for my my Scorpions ultimately to come forward. A couple good kills there found by Leary, but ultimately the Onagers are traded out.
And trading 3 Scorpions with 1 Onager is actually really good for the Viper.
Yeah.
He doesn't mind that.
A much cheaper unit overall, and his production is very good there. Of course, you saw that central castle from Leary go down to the Treb Fire of the Viper, as he now goes for the chemistry that Leary already has. Ballistics, architecture on the way here from Leary, just to make sure that his buildings have a little bit more strength against the firepower that the Viper's bringing to the party. But I'm looking at that final castle position right now from Leary, and I'm a bit worried for it as he now extends towards the north even more to try and drop another castle position and buy himself some time.
Well, he sees that this push is tough to stop, right? So building another castle somewhere on his screen is not an option. Only just now popping. First one goes down. Micro really good at the top as well. Can Leary find some more kills?
Finds another. Onager for Onager. Okay, he's trading out very well in this Onager battle, and now if he gets those Scorpions grouped up at any point, I would say so far in the Siege trade it feels good, but unfortunately he loses the castle, and therefore the Halberdier have a better time running underneath the fire of the TCs and pushing those Siege units away. Still looking good for the Viper. The queue is healthy, I would say, between 29 Hounds, 8 Light Cav, and 4 Scorpions in the queue. Still has those 4 Trebuchets alive and is slowly wrestling percentage by percentage more of the map control.
Look at the minimap, right? Units everywhere. It feels like both players have like 10 things being attacked at the same time while trying to advance, while trying to also expand the economy. And now the push continues here. Halberdier raid.
Yeah, Halberdier raids. Of course, we've got a Light Cav hitting that Blacksmith on the left-hand side, but it's just more and more things that Leary has to respond to, and it's looking difficult for him. The Viper is well teching into guilds to make sure that if he needs to balance his economy or find some more gold, he can do so pretty easily at the market. Now he's turning his attention onto more siege workshops and stables. The raids continue. Looking in the north, we see more looping around here in favor of the Viper. I think Leary right now is feeling very much on the back foot.
Well, he's clearing up some of the Scorpions, so won't mind that. But yeah, population is rather going down than up for him. It just feels like so many attacks are coming in. He's trying to raid at the bottom as well, but also nice reaction by the Viper.
Yeah, and solid TC positions there for the Viper around the farming eco. Wow, a 3-villager castle as well on the front lines, but it just speaks to the control he has in this area of the map. He also managed to eject the 3 relics there, which is very important for the long-term prospects of either of our players, while he has 2 back at home. So could ultimately take all 5 relics that we see on the map currently. Now Leary having to pull his trebuchets even further back to a more defensive position. I'm worried that Viper is drawing a straight line through the center of Leary's eco, and that's never, never good. You never want to be the guy who's being cut in half.
Yeah, we have seen some games right on bypass where people try to expand to the sides and have seen some good games, but that's most of the time when you have also the extra resources. Again, Halberdiers and reasonable numbers to defend this. Nice attempt here by Leary. And Viper, is he trying to steal those relics?
Yeah, looks like it.
That's not noble.
Looks like... Get him out. Get him out. Now, it might not be noble, but it is very much a winning move, to say the least, securing the late game for himself in that extra gold generation. But the economy is looking mightily healthy for the Viper. 1,500 food, 1,100 gold to his name. Now we see the RAM upgrades coming in as well here for the Viper.
Finally, the Scorpion upgrades for faster shooting Scorpions.
Yeah, what is already an insanely powerful unit gets that much more powerful, but we don't even need that tech to end the game. Leary goes down, and the way we were talking about Chinese on Bedouins almost felt like a sure thing, almost felt inevitable, and we were thinking, well, do you just throw that map away? Do you toss maybe your worst Civ into that matchup and move on to something else? Viper says, no, I've got a plan, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah,
really, really nice here by the Viper. Romans, they really showed themselves, right? All collecting all those resources faster, also building the TC faster. You're not that far behind. And then, obviously, the nice early wards. Leary realized really early, but just early castle age. I think CA was the wrong unit. Right? It was such a short distance. CA, they shine because you can dictate fights. But if already siege is in your face and the opponent is walled, CA aren't that great against like 2 Mangles and 6 Scorpions.
And I do have to wonder how much of that CA investment was just a reaction to seeing the walls.
I think it was a bit autopilot.
Really?
Right? Because if you see walls, like, why are we going CA there? It shouldn't be like 3 TC Siege Workshop.
Yeah.
That's what I feel, but I also saw everything. Right. It is limited information, especially if the opponent is walled. You don't really know what's happening behind it.
Right.
The Viper could have added 3 TCs or like 2 extra TCs as well, but he was going for the push.
Yeah, and you might not know that he doesn't have stone like we knew he didn't have stone and the like. So again, easy for us to criticize in this position. Not so easy when you're sitting in one of those 2 chairs. The Viper goes up 2-1 in the series, but we got plenty of games to come. We'll catch you back here on the other side of this commercial break.
And now, a word from our partners.
Have you heard of the 21st century?
Why settle for clacks, clunks and jams? Say goodbye to sticking keys. And welcome to the ultra-responsive, quiet precision of the U-Rage Exodus 760 mechanical keyboard. With our Temu red switches for ultra-silent key presses, anti-ghosting with N-key rollover, and 1 millisecond response time, this keyboard will keep up with your fastest moves. Whether you're gaming or working, you'll enjoy precise control at the speed of light. Get yours on Mueller.de. In case you rage, we do not cover costs for damaged screens or unfinished castles.
Welcome back to the Noble Apartment Cup, where the Viper has taken the lead in this series 2-1. Our second semifinal of the day. The winner, of course, of this one moving on to face Hera in the grand final tomorrow. Already a tall task, but you got to get there first. Leary, again, still looking for answers here, right? After a good start in this series, he's going to have to find a way to equalize. You know, it's always, while it's always possible to pull 3 back in a row, you don't really want to be in the position where you're down 3-1 and have no more mistakes to give.
Yeah, especially against that opposition, right? If they're already like on a run, you don't want to have them being in the comfortable position, and then they can throw more curveballs at you, right? The Khmer thing was already tricky, but if you need to win 3 times, you need to be super careful how you scout. So, Leary, priority number 1, make it 2-2 here.
All right, so the question is, how do you do it? Or do you feel like there's a specific guaranteed Civ match anywhere on the board that you can target? Is there a map and a Civ that you have that feels as unbeatable as it felt like Chinese maybe should have been on Bedouins? I mean, Turks we've seen played on Bypass, but across from that I see the Teutons that more recently have been used to great effect on Bypass, and so maybe it isn't there.
I think Britons are great against Teutons, though.
Ah.
Maybe Armenians might be not really the counter. I think Britons will actually dominate Bypass here. At least that's what I could see. I think I want to see Leary play Tiergarten here. Probably like, I would expect Tatars, right?
That'd be interesting. Tatar's a different possibility. We've also seen Tatars used a couple times on Arabia. Specifically, well, it will be Arabia. We're just now receiving word. And so we can continue to wax and wane on what the Civ options there might be. I mean, for the Viper, I could see the Malians, of course, on Arabia. Also, honestly, wouldn't be surprised if Berbers or even the Portuguese came out in this situation.
It's maybe for Bypass, something I could see, right? Especially, maybe that's why he picked Teutons in the end, not necessarily because he wants to play them, but he wants to monk rush with Portuguese, which could be countered by Teutons with their monk resistance.
Well, that's the mind games that these players have to play, and we just get to think about. On to Arabia we go. It is going to be the Tatars there for Leary, and then on the other side, the response will be the Malians.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. Leary loves to play Tatars, right? You have more food on your sheep, so it's easier to transition yourself into those delayed farms, can build some more scouts, and then obviously CA right now so dominant. And we've seen, well, Scorpions performing really well, but Malians, I don't really see them going for Scorpions in Castle Age.
Not so much, as both players immediately work on pushing their deer in here on the 9 villagers start. For the most part, your priorities just get to the feudal age, or maybe in a 3-ville start, you'd be looking for more information early on, or something like that, or go forward for a lame of some kind. Won't be the case here. I'm taking a look at maps. I'm seeing a pretty easy wall there for the Viper to protect that gold. Pretty safe gold, and even a good wall across the front to protect the berries that are sitting on the front of his base. Really, the only issue for him might be stone, if and when he wants to move for it. On the other side, taking a look here, it's pretty open front of the base here for Leary.
Kind of clumped up if you wall and include the gold there, right? You could also wall a bit more to the bottom, to that wood line.
Yeah, I like
could
that.
Be an option. It feels like Viper space will be really good against melee units, and I don't see the scouts finding too much damage, but CA obviously can still harass all those wood lines.
Yeah, without a doubt. But he's already walling up right across where Vodka had suggested with those houses. Oh, this deer. The deer. Get in there. Listen to me.
Leary plays pop 19 scouts here. Viper on the other side goes for the same, most likely. We could still see him go for some archers. Viper really likes to use the Malian gold bonus.
Yeah, gotta drop off that food, but we do have enough. There goes the click for each player.
Perfect.
And we are 0 idle TC time for both players. Entirely matched feudal age timings. Second lumber camp on the way here for Leary. On the other side, looking to see if the Viper... No, those were sheep over by the gold. Not so much villagers, but... Oh, no, lumber camp. Okay.
So, that will just be what we predicted, right? Both going for the scouts here. And with those tight maps, I would be really surprised if we find too much damage. So I'm actually predicting that we will see 4 scouts built maximum. So both going for like 5 scouts. And then it has to be a transition into archer range. Don't think that with those really tight bases, people will just try to skip the archer range.
Okay, so there goes the barracks up on the way there for the Viper. I'm trying to figure out if there's a hole. Okay, there was, but he's going to go ahead and close it with that house positioning just after. Of course, we have the barracks coming up there for Leary as well, as you can see on your mini-map. A little more conservative. I almost would have taken it all the way to the edge of the wood line, but of course, then you have to go a little bit further to defend it. So he's going for more conservative walling there. Feudal Age just about in. You see the villagers coming forward, as typically you'll use 2 to get that stable down just a little bit quicker and start that scout production. Viper now forward with his first scout to look for points of entry and places where he can deal damage. There goes his stable. Both players going to match the eco upgrades, and so far everything playing out to chalk. Now it's just about whether or not anyone makes a mistake, and that mistake gets capitalized.
Still advantage. Does some damage with that first hit, but too close to the town center to really find anything. I think Viper just walls next to the gold, and both going for scouts, both going for some spearmen. Should be a really stable game. I still think that Malians, without having Bracer later on, will struggle against the CA, right? You can't really go for mass elite skirmishers, you can't really go for mass scorpions, so you have to commit to mass cavalry. And then Tatars, well, they still have heavy camel.
Right, and that will be their answer, because unfortunately their infantry line not super fantastic with the lack of armor upgrades. And so lucky to have the camel there. I know that Hera has made great use of the Tatars in the late game, though. Things like the increased treb range can be huge if you go for it in terms of taking down castles.
Flaming Camel.
Flaming
Camel against mass cavalry from Malians would be really interesting. I can dream.
We can always dream. We've seen it before, okay? Not in this tournament, but we've seen it in the past.
And you don't need the tech anymore, right?
Exactly.
Just build them out of the Siege Workshop now. Could be really nice. Leary? Did he skip? Ooh. He skipped Horse Cutter so far. Maybe he can still get it in after the archer range.
Well, I guess this is the advantage of having the sheep that last longer, right? Or have more food on him. He doesn't feel the need to go to the farms just yet, and so hasn't elected for that horse collar. But on the side of the Viper, does make sure to go for that upgrade before dropping the farms. Will be a great investment or savings of wood in the long run by not having to replace them as quickly. Yep, testing the waters there with those 3 scouts.
But woodline at the top. Does he have a spearman positioned there? Yep. But the other woodline probably needs to do some quick walls. Doesn't really want to fight this off. He doesn't want to go for more scouts. Villager a bit out of position. Needs to react properly.
Yeah, 1 scout, 1 spear in defense. Some house walls come up. He's walled as well, pretty conservatively, straight to the TC, right?
If you compare farm count. This is like 10 farms? 9 farms against how many?
3.
House timing will be way better for the Viper.
Yeah, definitely. A near equivalent numbers of vills on food, but like you say, already working on the farms is massive. Whereas Leary, as he moves vills off of sheep and onto farms, they're going to have to get them built first before working. So up to 15 now here on food for the Viper. Just pushing those scouts away. He's got 5 in his group up against the 4 on the other side.
Could we quickly check if Viper saw the archer range? I thought he was there with the scouts. I'm a bit surprised. Because there's still no proper reaction, right? He's now trying to wall the top. This is ambitious. That's a blacksmith.
Yeah, he did see it.
He's going double scouts? Is that a second stable from him?
It is.
Oh, wow. That's
is.
without bloodlines, double stable?
Well, and he's kept it hidden. So at least, yeah, he faked the house, then drops the stable. He's now going to run into spears and archers, needs to retreat. The scout production continues. He's up to 6 with 2 more in the queue. There goes the blacksmith just now completing, but he doesn't have the food to invest into any upgrades yet. Now he has to house wall back towards the TC. That's pretty effective walling there against the ranged units. So they're going to have to take the long way around to find any damage. That gives him time to bring forging in. Forging is what he elects to go for before the armor upgrade.
It's like he wants to get more hits in, maybe instantly jumping on those spearmen, trying to kill them a bit earlier. Some more spearmen at home here. I think he will get the clear up, but that's a big, big investment. It paid off in the Bedouins game, though.
This is true. It feels like a peculiar investment, though, just because even if you win this fight, you got to travel all the way back across the map where your opponent is most likely fully walled. At that time, good damage found by the spearmen there. Forging is completed. This would be the time to jump. Now he's got to focus the spears down first here with the scouts, and he looks to be doing a good job at that. 1 spear down, second one down. Now he dives on to the remaining scouts and archers, but of course, he will still lose lose a few in the process. This is no more scouts on the field, though, here for Leary, and we have 6 scouts on the field for Viper. Away he goes to use that speed to the other side of the map, and you can see a second villager pulled to complete these walls, and already military in defense. Leary knows that he needs to make sure no damage comes through on the other side.
Has to quick wall those. Has to get some HP on all of them. Will be tricky. I think Viper would dive, even if he loses one villager, one scout, just to get in there. Nice to take some advantage of his numbers.
Halfway across the map. We're checking back in with those walls here in just a moment to see how close they are to complete. Again, there is still military there from Leary, and he should be aware exactly where this pressure is coming. The walls look to be just about up. One more hit on the final palisade, and those scouts won't get in.
Perfect timing here. Gets wheelbarrow, the Viper behind it. Also, the blacksmith here at the edge. Leary fully walled, and Viper, with a nice defense, has some more map control, but Leary untouched now and can easily build crossbow numbers. Early castle age could be a bit tricky for the Viper.
Yeah, definitely. He also invested in the wheelbarrow, so while his economy will be working more efficiently, again, that's a pretty big investment of food, and so he's a little bit behind on the way to the castle age, but rapidly approaching those resources needed to click up. I think both players at this point, though, happy to make their way to the castle age. There goes Leary's click. Viper's soon to follow.
Viper, in the long run, has to expand quite a bit. Look at his gold spots. Both pretty far forward, outside of his walls. That won't be that easy.
Same with Leary, though. Both of his gold spots.
Oh, yeah.
Very far forward.
Yeah.
So I think that, sets this map up well, right? For map control to be very important, right? If the game state is as it is right now when Castle Age is reached, it's going to be easier for Viper, right, to more safely move out to those extra TC positions if he wants to. Leary, of course, is going to hit first, so we'll have more military upgrades perhaps coming in time to provide that safety for villagers to move outside. I would expect essentially one TC at home, maybe on that wood line for Leary, and then a second one that tries to reach outside the walls.
Make a lot of sense. I love that Viper is splitting off those scouts. Really needs to know where the army's coming, and now he sees an army that he cannot fight against. Oh, Leary goes back.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Doesn't trust his timing.
Yeah, maybe a misread there, thinking he's either later because of all of the farms that he saw from Viper earlier, thinking, well, I was later to farms, he was going scouts, didn't invest too much into anything that required gold. Of course, Bloodlines has now finally come in here for the Viper. But only 5 military on the field, all of them scouts.
Viper, he doesn't trust that Leary's not going aggressively. Tries to get some more walls up. And Leary, yeah, this will be tricky. Those TCs that he will build won't be that ideal. If he builds 2 TCs inside his walls, expanding will be extremely tricky for him in late castle.
Okay, Bodkin, crossbow. Now he's on the way across the map. We already see that first TC going down there on the gold right along the palisade walls to make sure that he has at least one gold position entirely secured. On the other side, right as Castle Age is hit, we have a couple things going down. Siege Workshop, exactly. And then, of course, that first TC backed by his own gold position. So 2 TCs apiece. And now we're going to look for the military engagement, camels as well, in tow, to follow that crossbow army across the map. It's a good number of crossbows. If you don't react well on the wood line, these could be dead villagers.
Viper should know that this is coming. Ooh. 2 wills down instantly. Nice pickup by Leary.
Yeah, fantastic find, and the timing was there. Right as crossbow and Bodkin finish, he arrives to the wood line, and so keeping his military safe enough before he makes that transition and gets across the map. Now he even can range part of this gold in the secondary wood line here for the Viper. It's going to be really annoying to have to deal with this until you have enough knights on the field, and even then, the camels are already there.
Mangonel tries to get a shot off. Maybe some ground attack here. Gets a ground attack, but Leary obviously watching.
Very, very tough. Got to have constant attention on these crossbows against that Mangonel, but I wouldn't really expect anyone to do it better than Leary there. Now a 3rd TC back at home. So even while he's the one now with some map control, doesn't want to, tempt fate by moving outside the walls just yet. Goes up to the 3rd TC. Viper now long range.
Wants to build a town center, but
yeah, he does.
Wood. Let's see if he waits for 275. Obviously, it's cheaper for Malians.
Oh.
It's just waiting for the drop-off.
There it is. Okay. There it is. This will come up, no problem, with the house walls there in front. Securing another wood line for himself. And now just playing mango defense here against the crossbows.
Deer running through the town center there.
Hera is, I tell you that. After that, did you see that game against, I think it was Tato, if I remember correctly. Did you see that on African Rebeds?
Ah, he dove. Yeah.
And that was just a split-second decision, game-winning. You know, so, but it also could be game-losing, right? Especially against a player like TheViper, who's he's going to go for the quick walls if you try and make that dive, especially with ranged units. So perhaps making the safer and more intelligent play is Leary by not going for it. He's just going to go ahead and maintain map control here.
Look at Viper. His army usage. He knows 5 knights aren't doing anything here. Right? He's just patrolling those 2 golds.
Yeah.
Took a fight. Just trying to expand with his economy here. And now it's a Scorpion. Makes it way tougher for Leary to take any good engagements. And I think behind this, the Viper should realize this is going to be a... Oh, wow, that's a weird farm. This is going to be a massive Castle Edge fight. I wouldn't be surprised if soon Viper adds like 3 stables.
Mango defense enough for the time being, but we do see the camel numbers rising. They're not going to want to dive under the TC if they can avoid it, but they will if they have to get that Mango off the field. You leave your crossbows unchecked for 1 second, they will take damage. Leary kind of got lucky. Viper almost thinking he's going to dodge, and the stand still saved him some health there. All right, forcing a reaction on the other side of the map. As we mentioned, those knights not going to be used for too much here in defense of his own base, so he may as well make this game a little messy by forcing out some repairs. Leary now going for wheelbarrow to match the wheelbarrow of his opponent and try and equalize the economies in that regard. But it's shaping up to be quite the Castle Age battle. 4th TC here for the Viper. He's going to go for it as the crossbows are looping around, but I think this Mangonel might be there for the defense.
Will be in time, yeah. You have to just move around this army. If anything, you can maybe delete those houses. Scouts and Knights are trying to get home.
Husbandry is going to complete in 10 seconds, so at that point, he should be able to gap the camels. Wants to avoid taking any fights and any additional damage here. As that upgrade completes, boom, there's Husbandry. Should be able to skate away from the camels. Couple of...
It's the low HP knight always in the back.
Of course it is. He wants to be a hero. That's the guy who doesn't have to die in the movie, but then says, "No, leave me. I'll do it for you."
Handcard now as well. That's just a really low army investment here for the Viper. Just wants to play the long game. Quite interesting, because we feel like Tatars, if they get to their dream setup with full heavy CA, maybe Kashyyyks, that Malians could struggle.
Yeah, it's a rarity that I'm staring at 29 military to 9 and feeling like the player with 9 is playing it perfectly in terms of like walking that tightrope of having, just enough to either, to buy himself that time to build maybe the economy advantage that he will need against a player who's playing the Tatars.
But I think we need to see an investment into Castle Edge units now. I don't think Viper, where do you build your castle? Are you building in front of your stone TC? That still does not give you control over a gold at the front. This could be a risky castle with very little army.
Yeah, and here come the Cav Archers. So Leary now splitting his army up into many different groups. Comes to the wood line yet again to harass. We do have a Mangonel there looking for some damage. Does get a conversion as well does the Viper, but the Mango goes down, and there's still plenty of Cav Archers there that are happy to sit and harass.
That army could get cleared up.
Great walls. Great walls by Leary there at the last moment. Now the Camels take a favorable engagement against the cavalry that the Viper has. We're through the walls over here with the Cav Archers. Now into the minimum range of that Mangonel. Ooh, finds a great fadeaway shot at the end. Of course, still, the Mangonel goes down, and so does the Scorpion. This is great harassment here found by Leary. 1 camel out onto the field, but I don't think it'll be enough. Ooh, another Mango shot perhaps. Goes for the target fire. Doesn't find it. Back into the minimum range. Is the dodge is going to be there here from Leary? I think at this point he turns tail to run. Viper might look for a quick wall. Finds it. Locks him in. But how many vills go down?
They did so much damage. Force so much reaction, so much idle time. Yeah, you get a conversion here, but Leary doesn't care. He's on the way to the Imperial Age. Okay,
this is what Leary does better than almost anybody else, right? Is find that timing to the next age. And so with the map control that he's established with a very clean 3TC eco, yes, Viper has an 11 villager lead and growing, but will he be able to weather the storm of military upgrades that come in, especially when Leary's playing something like a ranged unit? Does throw some numbers away underneath the TC, maybe ill-advised when you are going up to the Imperial Age, but I'm thinking about racer play with Leary. That's never something I want to be fighting against when I'm locked in the castle age.
Yeah. What are we even doing here for the Viper? I think he will continue skipping army, and then it's full Cavalier for Rimba play most likely. But Leary will out-micro you all.
And even that's such a risky move out to that gold. I mean, he's already thinking about needing extra gold positions, but he goes for just a mining camp out there in the north. If that gets found by these Cav archers, boom, that's another set of dead villagers, and I think Leary has a sixth sense about it. He's going to make sure he snipes this monk. No conversion comes through. Now he sees the mining camp. His suspicions are confirmed. We split the vills. Everyone scatter!
Well, there will be some dead vills for sure. Buys him some time to get a castle up at the right-hand side, but still no control over the golds. I'm really scared for the Viper. How will he transition? How can he afford, like, 8 stable camo production?
I don't know. Yeah, he's on 2 stable camo production right now. He's going for that second armor upgrade. Is looking to drop a castle on that extra stone position, but the camels come swinging in. The walls are there, though, for the Viper, so I think in the end this castle does complete, and he's going to slowly creep his way towards those extra golds, but it's a question of how much gold he even has remaining right now. And again, he's going to have to weather the storm of a player that has the superior upgrades. 1 military on the field here for the Viper.
Ridiculous.
1 military
Absolutely.
on the way to the Imperial Age.
That's so sick. It's a 31-minute game, and he built like 31 military units.
Yeah.
It just feels so wrong.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, so yeah, 8 deaths, eco units. That's 30. Yeah, 31.
Especially with those 2 gold spots, where I kind of predicted, like, oh god, this is going to be massive castle age. Like, oh boy, was I wrong? Viper completely skipped castle age.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, and look at this. I think Leary again now realizes, okay, I've got the timing. The vills come flooding forward, dropping military production buildings in the center of the map, establishing a forward operating base. Here comes the castle on a hill, controlling at least one of those golds and threatening the second one. Viper's going to have a sick response to this, or he's just going to get starved of that important resource within the next 10, 15 minutes.
It's already chemistry coming in. We already have Bracer. Those camels won't perform well with castle age upgrades.
These Cav archers are nuts. Just the unit control, those 5 alone, have just been causing so much chaos on the northern side of the map. Now grouping up with some camels as well. I love the outposts here from Leary. He's going to be aware of every move that Viper tries to make. It's going to be heavy camel on the side of the Malians player as his only army composition for the time being, but we're already teching into help.
2 on gold for the Viper. Like, he doesn't even need to tech into help. We can't afford the camels. And those 2 golds are taken away.
And almost how ironic that we were talking about how bad the Halberdier are on the side of Tatar. But this is just the situation that Leary's created for himself makes it still a viable choice.
Absolutely. It's still extremely cost efficient against camels, right? Especially if we are pre for Rimba here. And, well, basically the bonus damage is what does most of the damage, and Viper in a horrible position here.
Absolutely horrible position. He's getting squeezed from both sides. He loses half of his farming economy to just a small group of Cav archers, and each time he pushes them away, he gets about 2 seconds to breathe. Leary swoops back in, forces the idle time, forces the garrisons, forces the response. And then, of course, on the front, we have 1 castle position for each player, and I'm looking for those trebuchets. 1 already on the field for Leary, none in the queue here for the Viper. So I think we're going to move from what is a more constrictive position to a pure push down the middle here from Leary, one of the things he does better than anyone else.
To see more barracks in the center. Sees okay, full camels now. Armor is coming in as well, but Leary, he doesn't need to take any bad engagements. Just hop into the castle and you will be fine. Halberdiers are now coming over. Tries to micro here. That could be good for the Viper.
Yeah, heavy market use for the Viper already to find gold. He does have a solid trade here with the heavy camels, and if he can push these Cav archers back, it's clear that he's looking for a castle position on that hill. But again, still really difficult for him to get onto gold of his own. We take a look at the front here. You see 2 trebs moving forward. There we go. Viper's pushed off of gold. Now needs to defend this castle position with his life.
He's going for bombard cannons, techs into chemistry right now. Is building the siege workshop there, but it will take so much time. And how are you protecting your bombard cannon? CA can just dive in. You lose 1-2 CA and snipe a bombard cannon. That's fine for Leary.
I don't think he's seen the Halberdier yet. Right? He's building scouts now. So it's just more Cav on top of more Cav, but he's about to play into a unit that, as you said, just trades so effectively. There, he now realizes it's Halberdier on the other side.
Well, he doesn't have any other options, right? He could theoretically go for some hand cannoneers, but doesn't excite me for Malians at all.
Right. and maybe Gebetto, but you're about to lose your castle, right? That's where you say, okay, maybe we get Gebetto against the Halberdier, but you don't have enough time to mass them.
And Gebetto are horrible against CA as well. Can't really close on the distance.
He goes for a raid, but the quick walls are there from Leary, so, you know, that was maybe his stab back into it. Let me try and pull my opponent's attention all over the place. Arrives just in time to see a third castle going up. Sure, he might snipe a villager or two, but in the end, those very, very precarious gold positions that Leary once had are now fully secure. Viper sees it. I can't deal damage, and I'm only absorbing damage. I got to tap out. It's 2-2.
Viper taking off the hoodie. He's on. He's hot. But that game was so clean for Leary. Something that we have to ask the Viper afterwards, like what his decision-making was there. First of all, like why he went for so many scouts instead of the archer range. Maybe he wanted to skip skirms, right? I can see that. But then the cartridge investment was so minimal with such a bad map, something I did not see coming.
Yeah, I definitely want to know the justification for the scouts. At the very least, he did take a very good fight with them. I think then the question, as you mentioned, is more about the approach to Castle, which in some ways was a bit confusing and very greedy. At that, I mean, it was still the onus on Leary, right, to punish his opponent for that choice. And I think that's always something that we can laud our players for. And as we hit the end of Game 4 and kind of rest and retool towards Game number 5, the players are going to take a short break. And that's our opportunity to talk to you about one of our lovely sponsors. All week, we've been having a ton of fun with these segments. I think this is about the time that we just approach this one seriously, and thankfully, Surfshark has played an incredible role in this event and helping us make it happen. And so once again, we would appreciate any of you finding the time to go ahead and click those links that I'm certain are already being spammed into the chat to learn a bit more information about Surfshark and what we have to offer. We got a great deal running with them where once you go ahead and commit to it, you're going to get 4 extra months for free alongside your 30-day money-back guarantee. So really no risk to jumping in on this one. Of course, the number one and most important thing when it comes to a VPN is securing your connection and your data. Once again, we live in the day and age of the digital media and digital communication, which means just about every part of your life is saved somewhere on some computer, and you want to have that protected. So while you use public Wi-Fi, while you travel around the world, keep your data private as it should be. From there, though, that's where we get to the fun of having a VPN. As you know, when you travel, not everything is available to you in every region around the world. And so you've got that show that you've been binging, but oh no, you got to go visit family somewhere else in another foreign country, and they don't have that in their content library. Have no fear. Surfshark is here. You log into that VPN, you find the region that you need to jump to, and you have access again to whatever it is that you want to watch. I know it's Canadian Hockey Housewives for Dave. I don't know what your current binging show is, but either way, if you were to come visit me in the U.S., Nilly, I would know that you could still load it up and watch it without any worries. Of course, getting alerts on data breaches, having 24/7 customer service so that you always have somebody to contact if something were to go wrong. There's over 3,200 servers across over 100 locations here for Surfshark, so you really can't go anywhere on planet Earth, and I'd even venture to guess you could go to the moon and still find access to a Surfshark server. There it is, the NAC deal, so make sure you follow that link, you guys. Make sure you support Surfshark as they have so beautifully supported us here in the Age of Empires scene, helping us put on phenomenal events like this. We would appreciate it very much. From there, I think we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We're going to take a sip of water, gear up for game number 5, because we got at least a couple more coming your way. Remember, best of 7, each player trying to get to that crucial 4 and buy themselves a final spot against Hera. We'll see you back here in just a bit.
And now, a word from our partners. Back then, a pocket watch told you the time, if it wasn't broken, that is. Today, the Hammer smartwatches do so much more. From monitoring your health to managing your schedule, and even keeping you on time for the next Age of Empires final, everything is just a glance away. And they do it in magnificent style. Make more of your time. Hammer.
Back to the Noble Apartment Cup, where we are once again all tied up at 2-2 in this all-important semifinal best of 7. I think a number of our players at this tournament playing some of the best Age of Empires they've ever played. these two, I think, are no exception to that rule. Pushing each other, testing each other every step of the way. So where the last two maps were Leary's decision as to where we go. We'll pull up the draft for you all just to remind you what left they have to work with. Again, from here, I think we have 4 civs remaining for each player and a couple of map options for each player. It's Viper who gets to select where we go next. 2 of his home maps available, African Rebeds Bypass, and then his opponent's home map, Interior Garden, still on the board.
Will be beautiful to watch. It just feels like those are the number 2 and 3 in the world right now. Some people say Viper is number 2, some people say Leary is number 2. Incredibly close sets, like over the last years. And, well, they will show us the next game on African Reed Bet.
Okay.
Japanese already played.
Already played. And that's the thing. I was so certain seeing that pick in the pool that that's where it was going to go. And who knows, maybe Leary was thinking the same thing. And so with that being eliminated as a choice, we arrived to Portuguese, Berbers, Armenians, and Teutons still available here for the Viper. Byzantines, Turks, Britons, and Burgundians on the other side.
I would see Armenians for African Reed Bet, Berbers for Tiergarten, and Portuguese for Bypass.
Okay, so
On the
then...
other side, probably Britons for Bypass.
Turks for Tiergarten. We've seen Turks on Tiergarten before. I actually think it was Hera who did it. I don't think he was successful with it.
Maybe playing Burgundians? Would feel crazy. Would not feel like Leary.
It definitely wouldn't, but he's gonna play Burgundians here on African Reed Beds. How about that? And Berbers for the Viper.
Wow. That is really... Where's Armenians he's playing on Tiergarten then?
Was that the... Or is that the bait pick?
For Bypass? Curveball?
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
that will be interesting. And I love what Leary's doing. And actually, the Viper and Terra have shown us the same. We predicting their styles and what civilizations they're going for. We are saying the typical Leary would not go for this. But they are constantly evolving. They are adding more strategies to their arsenal. They're looking at the other top players. How is Yo performing? How did Viper perform the other days? And they keep getting better and better.
Yeah, you know, actually, Leary then maybe stealing a page from Yo's playbook in the Burgundians, right? Again, I think it was such an interesting shift in this tournament alone when Yo went back to the Burgundians, one of his favorite civs. Now, the first time he brought it out was on Dry River in a very extended game, ultimately taking that one, and then today uses them once again, but here... And it feels like a civ that was maybe overlooked at times by a number of other players until Yo started to say, no. This is very much a viable civilization in very many situations.
Yeah, obviously Burgundians can get their upgrades in age earlier. And you can only get the faster fishing upgrade, gill nets, in Castle Age, except for Burgundians. So you can go for the better fish boom there. If you protect yourself, your economy will be just so much better. And we have seen crazy aggression from Hera early on, but the economy was too good for Mr. Yo.
Yeah, and I think particularly on this map, as you mentioned, because you can go for double bid axe incredibly quick, that makes the fish boom all that much easier to execute, right? Fish boom entirely reliant on your wood income. And the more you can get onto fish, the less you have to transition onto farms, at least early, right? And so using those early upgrades to great effect will be Leary, of course, then. Viper maybe feeling the need to put some early pressure and find some damage. You know, all it takes is a small group of, knights or scouts or something to get into the back. So walling will be very important here for Leary as well.
It's not his style though, right? He's typically, I'm opening scouts and trying to wall behind while I'm matching your scout numbers, which Viper won't mind.
Okay, loom in for the Viper, but then cues an extra Vil behind, still waiting for that food to click up to the Feudal Age. Now Leary going for loom, probably clicking up not too far behind that, but it will be Viper who gets there first.
21 timing. We had 11 seconds idle TC time for Leary. Try to squeeze in the wood upgrade there. Obviously makes it quite tight when it comes to BO.
Yeah, without a doubt. Moving out to 4 fishing ships apiece. No surprise there. And no scouting information gone for just yet. Wall's already coming up here from Leary. So I do love to see that, considering I assume that he will continue a more heavy investment onto water, now moving to a 5th, while Viper doesn't have the wood to do so himself.
That's quite greedy. Like Leary, can he afford... He wants to build another lumber camp. He has to build a barracks. There's so many walls. This will be tight. Like, Viper should have a lot of map control here. But he's skipping the barracks so far.
Yeah, because he's walling himself, and he's going for some pretty aggressive walls. I mean, he has to, in a way, based on his wood lines there. But yeah, choosing for wood investment there into the walls as opposed to the military buildings. Just now forward with his scout, he sees the first of the wood lines. He'll see the second. He'll confirm, of course, what he already expects, which is the fishing ships, and the fishing ship numbers continuing to climb there for Leary. Here comes the barracks back at home as he's about to hit the feudal age, and we would expect himself to follow there with the stable, get a few more scouts out onto the field. Just harassing, forcing the response. The villager now on the chase, and the scout coming back here from Leary as well.
Are we trading off here for the Viper?
You can trade the health, but you can't take the fight for the kill, especially when you get blocked like that. But with the villager also in tow, you know you'll lose that one in the end. Already Bosaw on the way as well for Leary, so keeping that one eco upgrade ahead of his opponent. Look at the walls, though. The walls are coming down fast.
And Viper's not building any army.
I kind of like that, though. Well, I like it less now that he's going for archers. I was going to say, I like it if your assumption is that the walls are going to be up before you'd even get the scouts forward. But now with the idea that that Leary could ultimately be coming forward with archers, it's scary.
And Viper is so out of position with the scout. He has no idea, right? He didn't even scout the gold. He has no idea that there's no mill. This is like archery range. This could catch him off guard completely.
Yeah, now granted, he is going for a full wall. He places it across the front of his base. Still has an opening on the left-hand side between those two wood lines.
Yeah, feels like it. Did he scout the archery range there? Really important for him. And gets the idea.
Okay, archers on the field.
Let's see if he's doing the stable. Yeah,
there's the stable.
But that's still tight.
Still open. It's a low health scout, so shouldn't be able to stop the walls. Can harass, though, and delay them, perhaps.
I think this can be annoying. Viper will need to focus this. Spin around. Take the fight a bit.
Gets the walls up.
Okay.
Safe there for the time being. He also found the hole on the left-hand side, so he went ahead and plugged that.
That finds. Now goes on to gold. Viper solid food amount already.
Yeah, very, very clean.
Could add some scouts now. That's the Mr. Yo approach, right?
Definitely could. He's really trying to get to that 800 mark. But it's still low on gold as well, so wouldn't even be able to click at that point. And missing one of the buildings.
And he goes for an archery range.
It's a late archery range now.
Is that telling us janitors? But not against Burgundians, no. He maybe adds one janitor or one skirm here.
Right, he just needs something ranged to fire back over the walls, right? And force Leary to continue to reposition while he tries to break through. But through all of that, I'd say then Leary is actually pretty happy knowing that he's at least forcing some reactions out of the Viper or rather while building up that fishing count. Almost up to 9 is Leary.
Viper pulls away from gold, wants to go for that early castle, puts 9 villagers on stone. Oh, wow. He really wants to get that castle up the moment he reaches castle age.
I suppose. Yeah, stone mining upgrade? Oh, no, okay. He cancels it, goes for gold instead. That was about to be just a whole new meta.
Yeah. 14 seconds IDCC time for Leary Viper. So far perfect when it comes to that. Leary won't be too far behind in the castle age, having one skirm enough to defend. A bit surprised that Viper didn't queue up more fishing ships yet.
Yeah. Castle age on the way, even going for Horse Collar now. So definitely thinking about going more farm-oriented than fish-oriented.
That's surprising. Thought like double dog would make so much sense.
Yeah,
you barely need food anyways at the start.
And even more surprising because it's the Viper. I feel like that guy will look for any excuse to go for a fish boom.
Or maybe it's just like, okay, I'm floating resources anyways now. I'm not really going for any army. Early Castle Age. Let's just get all the upgrades in so I don't forget them in the long run.
Castle Age click now comes in for Leary, so he's about a minute and 10 seconds behind. Not too much worse for Ware, since he's the one who's got the military numbers. And it's going to take a little while for Viper to build up a force that's at all threatening. Woof. Half health Archer. I think Guy has almost done more damage to Leary than Viper has.
0-0 KD, 14 minutes into the game. 10 fishing ships, and now we see gillnets coming in. Will we see another dock from Leary?
We have to.
Makes sense, right?
If you're going gillnets, you have to. You have to.
Why are we having villages on berries then? I think it could make lots of sense to transition to second dock.
Right, and those villagers could just be on wood, continuing to bank the wood and pump out the fishing ships.
Perfect stone amount. Look at that!
Wow. I mean, this is an incredible build order from the Viper through all of this. Again, we'll mention to you guys, 0 idle TC time, as perfect stone count to drop the castle in the front of his base. That's going to be a very good defensive structure for him. Going for kill nets himself.
Yeah, tries to go for it as early as possible. I think math-wise, it is too early. I think it makes way more sense to add 2 fishing ships and fish traps here compared to going for gill nets. He needs to continue building fishing ships here.
Okay, stable at home here for Leary as the Burgundian player. Is there a hole between that yurt? I know it's underneath the castle. I'm just making sure.
I think so.
Okay.
Yurt's only 2x2, right?
Yeah. So it is a hole, but it won't be abused or taken advantage of.
There are some palisade walls at the left-hand side, so this could be a bit annoying. Oh, look at that. Needs to get some houses there. At the very left, that's still open as well, and that's the second dock. Oh, is that the perfect spot? That doesn't really look like he wants to go for 3 docks.
Yeah, it's kind of looking like 2 and no more. Second TC at home here for Leary. So going to continue to make use of the extra resources he's collected here, up to almost 10k res collected, 1,500 above the Viper. First Camel Archer on the field, but about to run into those crossbows. No ballistics, though. Can get microed away.
Needs to rush some houses, needs to pull the villagers away from the wood line. Extra TC for Leary here. Viper, you really should not have any villagers around here. Keeps his villagers on stone. I'm a bit surprised.
I think maybe at the very least wanting to now reach for TCs once he has the wood count. So 100 stone in the bank, 150. Would have to buy more if he wants to get all the way up to 3 TCs eventually. Did manage to get those houses up to complete the house wall. Buys himself a little bit more time before Leary's able to break through with Bodkin crossbows. Going for fletching himself. He's going for the bloodlines as well to make those camel archers a little bit stronger, but feeling the need to also drop a siege workshop in response to the pressure that he's feeling.
Yeah, he wanted to drop it a bit earlier, but didn't have the blacksmith to free it, right? Otherwise, he could have maybe been next to the wall here. He could have already had 1-2 scorpions out. Was not allowed. And university.
Here comes ballistics.
Is it really adding something, though? We're not really having any big fights.
It's, maybe it's aspirational. If you get in.
Oh, that's still walled.
Okay.
Oi! But nervous.
Lucky to get away with only 1 villager death there, but pulls the vills off the wood line back to safety. We have the Scorpion on the way, and I think that Scorpion investment alone is going to make that university feel a little worse.
Yeah, I think so as well. Let's take a look. Those Camarches won't do too much. And Burgundians, like, do you really want to commit to too many crossbows here? I don't think that's really your plan anyways.
Now, Scorpion's out. Fires on the Knights. Leary will realize in a moment. Should back away from this house. We have a TC coming up on the gold here as well for Viper. That'll bring him up to 2 TCs to match Leary's 2. There's the ballista. So even after seeing these walls, seeing the Scorpion, and knowing that there's a castle position in defense, still goes for the investment of ballistics. I mean, if anything, it's confidence in only needing to find one moment where you can utilize the ballistics and take a really advantageous fight, and maybe that's what you're relying on, but it is also somewhat narrowing your win condition to something like that as opposed to using those resources for further eco expansion or just a quicker uptime.
Yeah. 30C would have felt really natural here with like not a lot of interest shown by the Viper to go for a lot of aggression. Maybe just feels Camel Archers are so good, so mobile, and the only way to ever catch them would be with ballistics.
That might be the case. Now, I am looking at the stone count there from Leary as well. Very close to the castle number. The question is, where does your first castle go? Is it back at home to defend your walls? Is it in the center to control more stone? Or do you go out to one of those important gold positionings on the left or right-hand side of the map?
On the side would feel very risky, right? Or not really risky, but typically you try to set it up at home and then take the next step. I wouldn't mind in the center here.
Okay. Well, TC first. That's going to delay that castle just a little bit longer. And he goes for the second TC right out to the left-hand side. I mean, securing great resources in gold, stone, and even close to that wood line. Should manage to get it up before the Camel Archers can cause too much chaos. He does have Knights there in response as well.
Resource collected, 2,500 ahead now. And that's mainly those fishing ships, right? Villager count is relatively even. Eco upgrades are relatively even as well. But Leary, early upgrade, Really helped him out.
Yeah, I bet you it's fishing ships and wood collected because of that double bit axe through all of the Dark Age, and then the slightly faster bow saw, of course, as well, being able to get it in Feudal Age. See the fishing numbers continuing to climb here for both players. We're up to 20 now in just a moment here for Leary, while just 9 on the side of the Viper. Camel Archer production continues, though. A very powerful unit, especially when you get to that critical mass. And so without having lost really any numbers yet, the Viper will at least feel good about that. But as Vodka has just pointed out, we're already at or nearing Imperial Age resources here for Leary. And I imagine he'll click as soon as he has a second building to enable him to do so, or drops that castle, because with just the university, wouldn't have the option to click up just yet.
So little that happened this game. KD's 3-3. If you interviewed both players right now, what do you think, what would they say, what their winning chances are in those games?
I would say that the Viper probably feels pretty good about his position. Just because I think Camel Archers in the late game are going to be an incredible. That said, I think Leary would also love his position knowing how many fishing ships he's gotten up to, and probably has a sense that he's wildly ahead in the resource count. And so having not taken any damage, he'd say, I'm just going to overwhelm my opponent with military numbers here soon enough. Elite Skirm in response to those Camel Archers. My Imperial Age is going to be faster, without a doubt. So I think while neither player will be unhappy with their position, I think Leary has more right to be happy with his position.
Feels like it, right? If both players are happy with the situation, one of them has to be wrong.
Somebody's wrong, but what did we say? Maybe some damage had to be found from the Viper, and as the Imperial Age upgrade is on the way, Viper gets into the walls, and now he's going to look to harass. Can he get back to those fish? I think we see some walls coming up from Leary in the back that might keep him out. He is, of course, going for a forward castle position of his own, but since the military's forward from the Viper, it isn't going to be stopped, and these were phenomenal stone gates with the walling upgrade coming in to make them even more tanky. Those Camel Archers aren't going to get through, but they will find some villager kills at the very least.
Oh, fortified wall even!
Yeah.
Pretty sick. And is this the knight? Another knight? Camel Archers are focusing this down?
I don't think it gets denied. That's 4 or 5 villagers still.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and we have the knights there.
It
goes up, but barely. In the end, I think because Leary was able to prevent those Camel Archers from getting to the fishing economy, he should ultimately feel happy about the game state.
I think so as well, but this was still really, really costly, right? And could have prevented by one single extra
24
ball.
eco kills.
Yeah. It's good, right? But we are counting on Camel Archers dominating this game. So losing all those Camel Archers will really hurt as well.
Yeah, and he can't get back out. He was walled in, so he's going to dive underneath the TC. Only a couple of those Camel Archers remaining, trying to use the mobility, trying to buy himself time. Might get a couple more Vil snipes, but at this point being walled in, now the Elite Scrims come over, and this will be all the damage that the Viper finds with one extra Vil kill here at the end. Now, he did manage to get 26 eco kills. I'd say that's pretty good and ultimately extending himself an eco advantage, but you're now sitting on 1 military unit total as your opponent hits the next stage.
And the Viper is switching, right? He goes for the Camel switch now, and he goes for Casper. Faster working castles. Is that really what we need right now?
I don't know.
Obviously, faster trap, get conscription.
Second castle coming down defensively. He is going for masonry, so that implies to me he might try to keep this castle alive, right, with repairs. But like you said, the tech switch is coming in. Going for that first armor upgrade on the cavalry. He's now teching into light cav as well. Is the food economy really there for that? 34 on food?
Will be tricky. Goes for some scouts. I think he's kind of out of wood, out of stone here, the Viper. Only that tiny stone tile. The other stone at the front is abandoned.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that he's not going camels.
I am too. But again, maybe he just doesn't feel like he has the ability to invest gold into 2 different units, right? So if he wants the Camel Archers, he can't have the Camels as well. So he has to settle for light cav. But just like that, we've got 2 trebuchets already firing away while the Viper still isn't in the Imperial Age. 20 seconds more to go. You know, now that unique attack might come in very handy in terms of eventually matching trebuchet numbers, but that means you're keeping this castle alive for a very long time. You have 100 stone in the bank with almost no stone left in your base. And again, you've conceded all map control over to your opponent. I do see some action on the left-hand side around that gold. Scout finds the villagers that have moved out there, but there is army to defend here from Leary. But at the very least, Viper knows his opponent's already gone for that. Castle now being dropped to fortify the position. If Viper wants to find gold, he'll likely have to go out to the right-hand side.
Is he trying to jump on those for the army? I don't really think he can.
Can't do
Pass
it with
around,
those.
tries to wall off the traps at the front. But there's not a lot of army. Maybe just Lightcav can go for the kill.
Maybe, but it is just the second armor upgrade underneath Castle Fire, and now you have Cavalier showing up in response. He's trying to focus in on the Treb, but he's doing almost no damage. The Reveal pops out, looks for the repair. This will not be a dead Treb, and in turn, it'll be quite a few dead Light Cav. So not looking good here for the Viper as one castle position already crumbles to the ground. Now heavy market usage just to get the gold count back up. Looking for that all-important third armor upgrade, and now swapping onto the camels that you were talking about.
Is it maybe a bit late though? Those skirms and crossbows actually are paying off a bit against camels, right? Without heavy camel, which could be afforded now, and Paladin tag 32 minutes in.
Well, what did we say? That Leary is probably very happy with his position, having the eco upgrades over his opponent, having the resource collected advantage. And what does it net him? It nets him a wildly fast Paladin click. Now, it is a very long upgrade in terms of how long it takes to come in. He has none of the armor upgrades yet, so he needs to invest into all of those, especially playing into the heavy camel that's on the way here for the Viper.
Goes for the dive now, tries to go the traps first, maybe camels for the Cavaliers. It's only one single Cavalier on the field, now some more popping. Not the worst fight for the Viper.
No, not at all. 2 Trebs down, might even feel like he can go for the third underneath the castle. Turns tail, figures I'll come back for that one another day.
He needs to send army here.
Yeah, now we have the second armor upgrade on the way here for Leary. We've got Pikemen as well. So it's going to be Paladin Pikemen up against the heavy camel production right now of the Viper. Still looking for heavy camel to come in. He did manage to get a few villagers out here to the right-hand side, but the houses from Leary will ultimately spot that. At some point, he's going to want to get a castle down to secure that position, but he's light years away from that. So defending that position might be difficult. And in fact, maybe Leary can ignore it and just kill Viper at home.
Uh-oh, they're just really exposed. I think they automatically went over to the side, and those will die. Oh, that's a big loss. Viper's economy is still not really good. Look at that, 95 villagers only.
Yeah, and floating 1,100 wood at that. I mean, he's just been taking the pressure all game long. And so he takes his military forward, tries to find some damage in return. Paladin about to complete. Granted, there aren't too many Cavalier on the field, but either way, they pack a serious punch. They play a great meat shield to those range units that Leary has. And Halberdier as well on the way. We're just going for every single upgrade in the game to make this a sure thing.
Let's see if he can make it the short thing. Traps exposed a bit. Camels are trying to get there from the
good
defense.
gate wall.
Gate. And now the light cap for the ranged units. Camels here for the Paladins. Obviously, they don't have bloodlines. Camels will find some kills.
Yeah, camels will find great kills. 2 of the trebuchets do end up dying, but 1 is saved as another one comes out onto the field. And like you say, it was great army split here from the Viper, sending the right units to counter their respective units. Brings his trebs forward, thinks now's my time to strike. My opponent doesn't have too many Paladin on the field just yet. He's playing into my counter unit of the camel. These trebs are left a little bit on their own here, so the light cav will go ahead and divert their attention, and just like that, Viper's made it back through the walls. Some raiding to take place.
We have the Halberdier attack, but not a lot of upgrades for them yet. Camel Archers could provide quite some attack against them. Trying to dive for the water again, but still walled, still fortified walled.
Yeah, honestly, the fortified wall paying dividends now for Leary, absorbing the pressure of the second raiding party here from the Viper. All that said, his forward castle position looks to be no more as it crumbles to the ground. Another engagement here between heavy camels and paladins, along with just a few skirmishers and crossbows behind. The numbers look decent, though, for Leary. And the Halberdier continue to get stronger as that second attack upgrade is coming in. Ooh, Viper trying to bring Vils forward. He needs to get on stone. He's going to find maybe some more good damage here in the back of Leary's base.
Viper needs more camel archers to deal with those halberdiers. Otherwise, it will just be him meat grinding those camels. He thinks he takes some good fights, but halberdiers are so good against camels.
Yeah, and he's so out of food. It's really hard for him to sustain this production. He needs to convert some of that wood into farms, but at the moment, he's just trying to wrestle back control of the front of his base and buy himself some space to drop those farms. Didn't find too much damage in the back of Leary's base in the end, and so Leary will sport a 20-villager lead. He also has twice the military on the field. He's looking to expand towards the center of the map with another castle, secure all that stone for himself. Viper finally moving for a castle on the right-hand side, at least to lock down that gold for the time being, but very inefficient villagers back at home.
Will it actually go up?
Oh, no.
There's some camels for the
We got to get a wall. We got to get a house down. We don't get it down in time. The Viper, unfortunately... Oh, actually, maybe it's... Secret Agent Paladin there. Okay, stopping his other Paladin friend from helping him out, but I think these villagers will ultimately go down. The numbers are good here from Leary, but he does have to focus on the villagers. Just a few more remaining, trying to tap away on the castle. 77%, but it will be denied, and that's enough for Viper. He goes down 3-2 in this series. Leary back on top.
Tapping out there. Wow, Leary, that was impressive. Burgundian economy, we praised them before, and they delivered so hard. 20 fishing ships against 9 fishing ships. Just felt like, what was the reasoning for the Viper not to go for it? Because we were so walled, we had so many timings. We typically think, okay, the Viper, we would have expected 3 docks rather than 1.
Well, and especially with the gill nets. I think that is the part that, because it tells me he was thinking about it. Right, if he didn't even click gill nets, then maybe I would have thought, okay, it's not even on his radar to do that, and he is going to use those resources to be maybe a bit more aggressive and just go kill the fish boom of his opponent. But when you make that investment, it tells me you have that in your mind, and then you still have elected to not go for it. On the flip side, I will say, Leary, those walls were massive. Because twice raiding parties get in, and if you don't have stone gates specifically back there, then you might be losing 20 fish and all the fish trap investment, and that could have been the game going the other way.
Absolutely. And he even did fortified wall.
That
was so crazy to me. I've never seen that for Leary before. And it made so much sense, right? Because those walls weren't up. Yeah. Great moves.
Incredible play from Leary. Great game sense to know, what his win conditions were and what his opponent's win conditions were in that moment. Once again, showcasing to us that the Burgundians is a civ to consider more and more as we look towards our final series in this tournament. From here, we go to the 6th map of the set. We have the opportunity to get a full 7 games, but only if the Viper gets it done here and now. Let's take a look at what we have left. We have Bypass as the remaining home map for the Viper. We have Tiergarten on the other side. For the Viper, Portuguese, Armenians, Teutons left to play with, and then for Leary, it's Turks, Byzantines, and Britons.
Has to be Portuguese for Bypass then, and Armenians for Tiergarten. Probably trying to use the mule cards, right? More efficient on the wood line there. You can move to the deer at the side, but in this zoo area where you have all the deer and the berry bushes, mule cards actually won't help you because you need a mill to collect berries.
Yeah, and honestly, in a lot of cases, you need a TC on that map in that area because you are just so exposed. Most of the time, we don't even see players moving out there. If they are moving out there before a TC, it's usually because something's gone wrong, and they realize I have to take a risk in order to stay even in the game or keep pace with my opponent. And so that's, of course, if we go to Tiergarten. Tiergarten, a lot of times, just about getting through that initial wood line and then aggression towards your opponent's wood line. We typically see reticence from both players to drop a tower, trying to hold off as long as they can and then ultimately forced to drop a tower. And then it's a matter of the confidence to dive underneath it and find those Vil kills. Bypass, though, will be the map that we're going to. So sticking to the home map play here for the Viper, trying to bring us to a 7th and final game in the set. And so with that in our heads, we're thinking it's got to be the first pick of the Portuguese. It's one of his favorite civs of all time as well. Fall back on comfort, get yourself to the final game, take it from there. On the other side, most people are probably thinking Turks initially on Bypass, but of course we have thought as well about the possibility of Britons here.
Yeah, just longboats with the extra range, right? They die pretty quickly to Portuguese Ongans, but you just have to keep up the distance, right? And Leary is so active with his hands, like he can keep the distance rolling, right? And then it gets really tricky for Portuguese to take good engagements.
Also, Britons, I mean, cheap TCs. There's always 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 TCs being dropped by each player on this map, especially in the way that we've seen a number of the games break down, where typically, one person aggression, other person just scattering out to the two sides to try and hang on and build up their economy. So Britons, of course, faster food income from the sheep, and then the cheaper TCs could be great for them upon reaching the Castle Age. Portuguese getting that wood bonus off of the berries as well, which can be great in terms of aiding their eco, but it will be the Turks, in fact, here for Leary up against that predicted Portuguese pick of the Viper.
And let's remember, Turks, they had to change one less range on those Janissaries. That's why Monk actually performed reasonably well against them nowadays. So I don't think Monk Rush will automatically be stopped by Janissaries, more likely to be stopped by the castle being in that narrow area in the center. Then bombard cannons will be the key thing. Not needing to research chemistry there will be major for our bombard cannon.
Yeah, and it's that instant and free chemistry that also requires us to consider the possibility of a fast Imperial Age from the Turks. We have seen a number of times players go for a relatively, as forward a castle as you can get. Because you can't build in that center bypass area, you build it right at the front of your base, but it's still providing enough safety for Trebs and some bombard cannons to come out, and just a solid pack of Janissary, perhaps rather, you can end the game with a 1 TC push. So always available as a strategy here for Leary, but not a sure thing, not a guaranteed thing.
Front house and front lumber camp here for the Viper. Already 2 houses. Maybe tries to zone out that area so the Janissaries can't get in too easily. Stone in the back. Gold in the back for Leary. Stone in the front for him. Gold very much in the front for the Viper.
Yeah, I do think he's lucky though to have that stone behind, because if he needs to defend, he can always fall back to that. There's plenty of extra gold positions outside your base that you could fall back to. I think the stone is actually the more important thing in terms of defending against any pressure. But both players already thinking about walling right across the front of their TCs with those house placements, just in case either player chooses to be aggressive. We've seen tower rushes. We've seen man-at-arms tower rushes on this map. There are a lot of possibilities. We've also seen handshake 3 TC booms. Who knows what we're in store for here today as both players continue to push in those ostrich, which, of course, start outside your base. So you got to utilize the sheep to keep the gate open.
With this gold, Viper has no chance to play 3 TC. It has to be either Monks or we play the castle. Otherwise, it would just be suicidal. If Leary gets up with 3 Janissaries, the game's kind of over already.
Right. Okay, 500 food in the bank here for Leary. Still building another villager, though. I'm quite curious.
Really important to build the farms in the back here, right?
Yep.
If you face the pressure, some people build the farms in the front, ugly for potential Mangano fights. Nice heads-up play here for the Viper.
Fast imp for Viper. 4 vills in the queue.
Fast imp? I think it might just be a slow castle.
The classic slow castle.
I like pop 25.
Right.
Pop 26, something like that. Just the, okay, I'm not pressuring it approach. Will be pop 23 plus 2 from Leary.
I think the question is just how many farms does Viper drop?
That's actually true. Goes for pop 25. Not crazy slow.
No, not crazy slow. Only 2 farms so far. Moving vills onto stone and gold at the same time.
Typical approach is sending 3 on stone and then adding 2 more. That could be one of the build orders, or just keep 2 and then we have to add like 4 after in feudal age. 3 on gold here, quite a bit for Leary, especially with the faster gold mining. Might end up buying 100 food.
Yeah, 30 seconds to the feudal age. Got the wood, or just about has the wood necessary to build his 2 feudal age buildings to click up. Still some food underneath the TC. Viper on the other side.
Viper decides to go on to the outside with the scout. Isn't scouting the middle. Interesting choice.
Okay. He now sees feudal age come in. There's the market blacksmith here for Leary. He looks like he'll have just enough food, I think, with some villagers underneath the maybe. Might have to idle for like 20 seconds or so.
Well, it's still 11 villagers on food, right? Berries. He will run out of berries pretty soon. Actually, pretty heavy investment. 6 on berries.
Okay, but he'll have it in order to click up.
Yeah, nice moves.
Well done. Tight build order for him. Clicks up before Viper
More
makes
on
it to the
gold
feudal age.
for Leary. What is this build order? 5 on gold.
Yeah, 5 on
Is
gold,
it
11 on...
just Mangonel? Is he just playing Mangonel to push?
Mangonel what, though? Mangonel Lightcat?
Mangonel, 2TC, Imp.
The Imp. Okay.
Might be a thing.
Of course, we have the buildings coming down to allow Viper to click up here on the other side. A much slower feudal age timing makes this transition very easy for him in terms of the resources, but definitely slower. As Nilly mentioned, it was the scout that went around the outside has arrived to the walls of Leary's base. Not going to find too much information in arriving there, because everything was built pretty far tucked into the base itself. Now moving out to stone for the Turk player, not much of a surprise. Always wanting to play towards a castle of some sort. Castle Age now on the way here for the Viper, goes for Horse Collar. Doesn't have double bid axe yet.
This is really weird as well. This is obviously lacking quite some food, but what is Leary doing with the stone collection? He's just putting a town center there? He's collecting a bit of...
And then he stops.
I'm really confused.
I'm-
5 on gold, now 2 on gold. Now goes for the stragglers.
Okay.
Sends a villager in the middle, maybe some outposts.
250 stone? Okay, walling.
why
Oh,
he
so
collected 40.
that's why he wants it.
Okay.
Alrighty. Starting to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, Viper will get the castle up there. Has something to shoot at. Won't mind that too much. Then the question, Leary, 2 TC? I think you can't do more. 3 TC feels like he could die before you reach him.
Okay. So yeah, first TC goes down. Walls will be completed here on the front. But of course, would expect for Viper's Castle to come down right on top of that gold there. And start working away on the walls to break them open.
Like the remaining stone. Could sell 100 stone. Could also think about the 3 TC. Only 4 on food right now. And now adding some more farms. Will be tricky for him to keep everything rolling. And Viper, I wouldn't be surprised if he just deletes the palisades and builds the castle as much forwards as possible. And that's your confirmation. It will be a 1 TC play. And Leary goes 3.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh, baby. All right, everybody, buckle up. Buckle up. We got some action on the way. He doesn't delete the palisades. Will give himself that 1 tile gap between the castle and the stone walls. But pretty soon after, I'm sure those walls will come down. And Leary, I think, already senses it. He already senses it. Goes for a second layer of stone walls to buy himself some time while he expands that eco and builds the advantage that way.
That's an early monastery by the Viper as well. Like, he can't even get through there. Maybe adding 2 more farms could have been an option earlier for him here as well. And I think actually going for a single organ gun might be a mistake here. Right? What are you achieving? You're into stone walls. It's likely that your opponent will have Siege Workshop. I think he might just go for 1-2, knock at the door. But that should never have any efficiency.
Yeah, Q's 3 plus a monk. Obviously, the castle will break a hole into that initial wall here fairly quickly. Already about a third of the way through it. Or maybe you make at least just a couple organ guns to force the response out of Leary. If he never sees any organ guns, then he feels much more permission to sit on the 3 TCs. And at least this means, okay, Siege Workshop should come up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Turk player will play the Siege Workshop anyways. Now the Monk there, getting the neutral relic.
Oh my goodness.
Third layer.
Well, I think Leary understands exactly what matters in this game, right? He knows what his opponent's plan is, and he now knows what his win condition is, which is survive, survive, survive for the next bit of time.
It's such a big investment. Look at the idle TC time. 3 TCs, only 13 on food. That's not how it works. Typical rule of thumb, you want to have 6 on food per town center.
Yeah, so getting punished a bit for the investment into the 3 TCs. Also loses 2 of his villagers.
Even builds.
Yeah, that's really tough. Even villagers, when you're the one who's invested into extra TCs, now goes for a monastery of his own. Still hasn't gone for that Siege Workshop, importantly, as well. Didn't have Loom, which is why 2 of those villagers did go down. Viper, though, sees how many layers of stone walls there are in the middle, picks up the relic, decides, I'm going to go elsewhere and look for damage.
Interesting. Goes around.
It's a long way around.
It's a really long way around. Give me your time. What's your lap time?
Lap time, minute and 30.
Okay.
Right? 17:45 on the clock is when they get there.
Okay.
Or at least the first one. Now, I think we assume, right, just scale towards Imperial Age.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the Viper.
Yeah. He's playing 1TC for a very long time. The question is, what is he going for? It's like triple Monastery is the go-to, but Turk's obviously a really good spot.
I didn't think about the light cap. That's unfair. That's interference. Okay, in track, you're not allowed to come into my lane. All right, it's a non-contact sport.
You were a crazy runner, right?
I was.
What was your 400-meter time?
My 400 was like 52 seconds.
What was
51, 52.
What was your best?
My 800 meter.
800.
Yeah, a minute and 53 seconds.
Sick.
For half a mile.
Sick.
Yeah, the good old days. I look fondly on my track running days, like a lot of the Age of Empire players look fondly on their soccer or European football playing days. I know we have a number of stellar players within the Age of Empires scene there, but now I'm a caster because
not getting lazy at all. Resources looking really solid for the Viper. Will click up pretty soon. Scout still alive. Lightcav went down. Viper likely to end up with 3 relics. I don't think Leary will find too many. And Palisade Gates go down really quickly against 7 organs.
Yeah, Sanctity coming in here for Leary, so it's still going to be Monk defense. I haven't seen the Siege. Have we seen the Siege Workshop yet?
Is there any answer? Leary? He has to abandon the gold.
Okay, there's no Siege Workshop. He's abandoning. He's off of gold entirely.
Where is he building the castle there now? How does he not have a Siege Workshop? Viper's up to him.
Viper's up to Imp. Leary's desperately trying to get the remaining stone he needs to drop a castle. He's pushed off of half of his farms. Just like that, he has literally no defense against these organ guns. The Siege Workshop just going down now. Maybe a bit of a panic. We have a ram on the way here for the Viper. So we're about to see pressure from both sides. Redemption is going to be the play here for Leary as his only effort to push this back.
Worker efficiency is horrible right now. He has so many Vigilant Strikers as well. Some farms are going down. And Leary will never get it. Look at the resources.
Oh, this is a really tough position to be in to try and fight your way out of this in just the Castle Age with very few military units on the field. He does have 3 monks. He has a Mangonel on the way. Redemption's about to complete. So if he finds the right conversions here, that could be enough for him to buy the space back to get onto that gold. Monks are moving into position. Viper's control has to be there. Here come the conversion attempts.
Oh, Sanctity.
None have come through just yet. I believe Sanctity did come in earlier, did it not? Did he cancel it?
Oh, maybe he has Sanctity then, but that's still enough organs.
Yeah, he trades 2 monks for 1 organ, and now the Mangonel comes forward. Viper does lose 1 of the organ guns to that Mangonel. Unfortunately, low numbers of organ guns aren't that great against Mangonels anymore after the change, and so he gets pushed back a bit. This will let Leary jump back onto that gold, but now he's taking pressure from the other side. We've got that ram starting to work on the walls. Soon to break through, 40 seconds away from the Imperial Age. Now we have Monk techs coming in for the Viper as well. Sanctity and Redemption of his own.
Viper even flirting with getting 4 relics there. 1 monk at the bottom, and he keeps 1 villager on stone. I wouldn't be surprised if he adds a Vittoria behind this.
Huh? That
Maybe
would
some
make...
more villagers on stone.
Yeah, it needs
Doesn't
to
need
get...
that many villagers on food right now. What's the food upgrade that you want to do? I think you're fine with having 4 on food right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Block printing now coming in. These monks are going to be able to convert anything they want. There's just no space for Leary to work with for the moment.
Oh, that was a quick one.
That was a wildly fast conversion. And just like that, we get the delete so that the reconvert doesn't come back through the other direction. Did snipe 1 more organ gun there on the other side of the wood line.
Toman and block printing. This will be impossible for Leary to hold. Organs trying to find the kill, won't get it, but that should be a reconversion. And that ram is just going ham. What's the play for Leary? He's trying to imp this?
There's no way.
Is he trying to get to Hussars?
Okay, defensive castle. So he's going to try and fall back behind that castle. And then I guess you're just playing for bombard cannons, right? You're looking for imp just so you can quickly produce bombard cannons and fight things back.
But he already has block printing redemption.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it might be his only option at this point.
It's like Hussar might be an option. Scout perfectly positioned here if he actually saw that.
Yeah, well, he needs a stable before he can even get to the Hussar at this point. He's low on wood. He's dropping...
TC over here.
Another TC. What is that? He's dropping a military building up by his northern TC.
Archer? No, barracks.
Barracks. Well,
Start off.
naturally, need that first. And that, again, just shows you how terrible a position Leary is in, that he has to go for that before he can even find the right units to respond to what's just pushed through his walls. First trebuchet already here. That's going to target TCs. One TC down, second one to be under fire soon enough, and then just behind that is the castle.
Siege Workshop being converted.
Siege
so
Workshopping,
nice.
that's going to have to be deleted. It has to be deleted. You don't want to give that to your opponent. Yes, you have the villager lead, but you have 2 military on the field. The conversion comes through on the Siege Workshop, and that means more rams possibly. That means bombard cannons for the Viper as well in the future. Imperial, oh my goodness, what an annoying organ gun there. It will go down to the Mangonel eventually. A minute to go still in the Imperial Age. We finally have some light cav under production.
Oh,
but
that's
he's
the
gonna have to
MTC.
get the numbers up.
Dash.
That is the MTC.
That's
Okay,
another shot.
75%.
The ram is around. It's only like 5 villagers repairing.
Yep. It's just one trebuchet that's currently targeting this. Viper might recognize that the
One more
villagers,
shot.
he's seen it. He's seen that the villagers are repairing. He's moving another treb into position. The ram hasn't come forward. No monks. I think he's got enough repair vills to make this happen.
500 HP.
I think with just 2 trebs, he's got enough vills to make it happen, but it's very, very close. 95% here on the Imperial Age. The health drops just a bit more, but the repairs are there.
600 HP.
And in the end, does he have the wood?
Wow.
He does. He hits the Imperial Age. Husbandry now on the way. The first armor upgrade here from Leary. He gets that automatic conversion into the Hussar for his light cav. So he's got 2 on the field, 2 in the queue. That's his only military unit in production with 1 monk and 1 mangonel to boot. Now, this is playing out exactly like Bypass usually does, where the player who's taking the pressure flees to the outer sides of the map, tries to establish more eco there. Castle's going to go down in just a moment here for Leary. As much as he tries to get these repairs through, it's not enough to keep it up. And Viper's numbers continue to climb. What a massive pop cap he's just hit. He needs to build so many houses.
How can you ever get to Hussar numbers? He's at 4. Like, you need so many houses, and he's building more at the front.
There's
This
so many
is
vills.
massive engagement.
So
the
many
Viper
vills.
tries to force game 7.
Oh my goodness, the monks are coming forward. Now he can convert the whole economy. These 4 Hussar are trying to keep Leary alive in this game and end it in a 4-2 fashion. They find great snipes onto the monks. 2 converted though. No more military units left on the field. The villagers on the gold are now under fire. The production buildings are going down. The Viper having a perfect concept of what he needs to target, and I think Leary knows it. We're going to a game 7.
Oh my god. The 1 TC play against triple TC. Leary was so greedy and Viper punished him. The loop around with the organ guns paid off so brilliantly.
All right, yeah, he laced up his track shoes today. He took a lap, and he found the punish onto Leary. Leary with the greed, hoping he could find a way to extend it, but doesn't in this moment. Now maybe, thinking about it, thinking about what went wrong there.
I think decision making. Like 3 TC was just like he could not afford it. Like so much idle TC just from the gameplay. Like what are you facing? Are you facing a 3 TC player? No, you're never. Like it's Portuguese. They built the castle and they will go for the aggression. It is obviously tricky to get the intel and to get any scouting on this map. But it just felt like 3 TC, it's just you're praying that the opponent's screwing up.
But if I'm going to be critical, I would say he had about as much information as he needed, right? He saw Viper come forward with the initial organ guns and the monk. He did, I think, initially respond correctly, dropping multiple layers of stone walls. But then let's not forget, his scout saw those organ guns start moving out. So he should not have been surprised.
Yeah. And he had 2 reactions that both worked okay-ish, right?
Yeah.
The monks and the mangonels. You could go for either. Like 2 mangonels there and the organs are not doing anything. Or if you have 4 monks prepared, they're not doing anything either. I prefer the mangonels because you want to go for the Siege Workshop anyways.
Right.
And it will be tricky for you to pick up any relics.
But instead it was like 1 mangonel, 2 monks, and the redemption even came in late, right? If you don't go for the mangonels, fine. You can have 4 monks and redemption, and then maybe you don't take the kind of damage that you did. Either way, it was near perfect play from the Viper too, right? We've got to also give him his due in seeing those walls. I think it'd be very easy to maybe commit to trying to get through and kind of, bash your head into it. And instead he says, I'll take the path of least resistance around the outside. While it does delay some timing, and he plays it to perfection, gets through the walls with that ram, gets the trebs forward, has the block printing monks. A smooth victory here for the Viper, and we're all tied up at 3-3 with 1 map to go. It won't be a surprise where we end up. It will be Tiergarten, Leary's home map with 2 civs available apiece, Byzantines and Britons here for Leary, and on the other side it's Armenians and Teutons.
Viper obviously loves his students, right? Already won a game this tournament with them, won a Red Bull with them as well. But is it good enough against Byzantines? If you can get to your good fights, yes, but you just love to see like Camel skirms, early skirms, Spearmen, just finding so much aggression. I think it has to be the Armenian play against them.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Are we thinking Teutons? Farms?
I don't know, because I agree with you. Byzantines has every option available to them. One of the most versatile civs in the entire game. Of course, also sporting that cheaper Imperial Age timing, which I think can be a deciding factor here in Tiergarten. We've seen a number of games decided purely off of both players committing to the center with castle positions, and then it's just who gets to the Imperial Age first. Byzantines are, very happy to opt into that kind of a situation. And so, yeah, maybe that's where Armenians is a better play, getting to use those mule carts for a better economy early and then dealing some more damage before reaching an Imperial Age stalemate of sorts.
Also, crazy wood income, right?
Yeah.
You get 40% faster wood chopping compared to 20% with the wood upgrade. And therefore, you're through into the center so much quicker. Maybe you can control and can maybe wall him off. And we get the confirmation. We just had a map restart, and it is Byzantines, Armenians, kind of what we expected. A super early pick against one of the later picks. Lyri, in vacuum, should have the advantage.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. But I think between these two players and between these two civs, there's no large enough advantage between them that it couldn't be outplayed. Well, we would, again, as you mentioned, in a vacuum, lean towards Lyri. Viper is not out of it due simply to the Civ matchup, but it will require maybe a little extra something special out of him, that one extra ounce of effort or that one extra good decision or capitalization on a mistake to ultimately take it and buy himself a series against Hera tomorrow. Either way, these are the two players who have played Hera the closest up to this point, having 5-game series against him in their group stages while falling just so short, but I think with winning chances. And so, while again, we still have an incredible game ahead of us here, I think everyone should be excited for whichever matchup we end up with tomorrow. Feeling like Hera for the first time in a long time is really challenged in a certain way.
Yeah, we're truly blessed to witness that tomorrow. Also, something we didn't really mention, the best placed player here will qualify for an offline tournament in March as well, the Garrison. Viper and Terra are already qualified. So if Lyri wins this, he's automatically making it to another offline tournament. If he doesn't, there has to be another decider. So like this is actually, in addition to his NAC dream, even another tournament on the line.
Wow. Have you? Yeah, playing for a tournament final and playing for another tournament at the same time just adds to the pressure of the moment here for Lyri. We'll see if he can live up to it as we dive into our 7th and final map of the set here between Lyri and the Viper. It's Tiergarten, Lyri in the blue, playing as the Byzantines, the Viper in the red, playing as the Armenians.
Byzantines, if we go for mass scouts, don't get bloodlines. And with this like map where it's tough to wall, where mobility will be really important, I think Viper, maybe considering playing heavy feudal age, could be a good option. We've seen it from Malians before.
Oh, and scouts always become a factor, right? Might go for the archers first, archer, spear, skirm, spear, something like that, but eventually you're going to have to get yourself onto Cav if you have an extended feudal age. And so perhaps that will be the strategy here for the Viper as we roll on through those early Dark Age moments and both players move their villagers out to those wood lines, start chopping away. We'll see, of course, if either of them are microing extra hard, shift queuing onto those different wood lines and have given themselves the shortest pathway to the center of the map. Sometimes even upon reaching the feudal... Wow. One tree left to go here for Lyri already.
But are you building a second lumber camp directly inside there?
Usually they drop it on that second wood line right there, but also if you're going to get through that quick...
Are you doing it like as your second lumber camp in Dark Age, or are you like sending 8 here and then later expanding once your woodland becomes more inefficient?
Usually they go there pretty quick. I don't think it's required. We've seen some players stick on their first wood line, saturating with 8 villagers for a while. I also wonder, though, with how quick he's going to get through, if he ends up sending a couple of vills forward to either tower and or wall Viper out. The Viper chose an inefficient path. He has a whole nother tree to get through.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't care about it that much. That's an early barracks. Is there a chance that he goes for like an early spearman? Just trying to see what's up. I mean, can build them in Dark Age.
100%, I think. And you're going to want, you know,
He already has
you're going to want 5 to 10 spearmen anyway in Feudal, so you may as well get to producing them now.
If we are seeing scouts, right? If it's spear skirm, maybe the number will be a bit lower, but just getting the spearman out, maybe you get another hit, maybe you can kill some deer already. Those are certainly options, and him already having the house, yep, that's at it.
1 villager advantage here for Viper, but of course comes with that a slower feudal age timing by just about 25 seconds. So Leary will get up first. Viper coming forward, though, here on the left-hand side with his scout to get some information. Leary's still at home with his.
We have a barracks by Leary? Yeah, we do, okay. Just solid resources so far.
Am I blind? Where is Leary's scout? Oh, there it is. He just found Vipers. Yeah. Okay. Well, Viper gets the downhill hits, while Leary was the one who reached the feudal age first, and in the end, it will be Leary who wins out on this trade, because Viper can't get away with his slower speed in the scout. So that's a pretty good find there for Leary, preventing Viper from getting any real information in terms of how he's building up his base. Here comes the archery range on the side of the Viper, and it's the stable on the other side here for Leary.
So Leary not playing to his advantage right now, right? There's nothing special about Byzantine scouts. We want to see camels, we want to see those skirmishes, so it might be scout skirm. Really solid against the Viper opening archers.
Did that spearman just snipe the scout on its way in?
No.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, there's another spearman coming from the left-hand side. Oh, that is a nice find.
Yeah, very good find.
So Leary has no idea what he's playing against.
True. As of yet, he's only seen that spearman, and that'll, of course, be no surprise to him. Now, Viper's forward with his spear has confirmed his, suspicion that it would be the stable play out of the Byzantine player. He's already got 2 archers in the queue. Leary's trying to get forward, and just about now sees it, and so knows the Viper is building towards those range units. Will probably loop all the way back around, but Archer comes out just in time to micro this this spear down. 3 spears on the field now for Viper.
Yeah, he won't mind. Like,
4 even.
Kind of want to expand anyways, right? Will go for some aggression here. Maybe tries to lure into the wolf. No, just tries to take the better fight. Can't really go into the center yet. I think Leary needs to rush in archer range. Otherwise, we'll get really ugly against spear archer.
I think he agrees with you. And there you have it. Also trying to get the walls up is Leary, a lot quicker than the Viper is. Couple scouts now on the field here to the right-hand side. They'll move forward, but crucial aspect of this map is, of course, having that outpost that is pre-built for you, one on each side for each player, I should say, or on opposite sides for each player.
House kind of blocking a bit of farms there. Not the most important thing, but where's the spearman? There should be a spearman here for the defense. Villagers are running away. She's not getting around there. Unlikely that she can be safer.
No way. Is she going to get away with this? Oh, that's a great move by the scouts. The micro, I think, for Leary in the end should allow him to get the last doink. No, the spearman arrives, and the walls come up. What a save.
And there was so much HP lost now. Brilliant move for the Viper.
Yeah, and the spear goes down, too. So, in the end...
on the other side. He's in there. Vodka even got nervous. You saw the mouse moving there.
Where would it go? Oh, it's 2 stacked archers right there. Fletching, though, not yet in. I think Viper wants to wait for that, of course, while the skirmishers respond. But a great find and a great defense there for Viper at home to push those scouts away. These weak scouts are no threat to the Woodline villagers. Could fight that off just with the villagers alone. The stable not scouted either here from Leary. Although, again, I think you could expect it to have come up, or that it will come up soon, as it does seem like we're playing into more of an extended feudal age. Both players completely strapped for resources, trying desperately to get the farm counts up, and now even a blacksmith on the way here for Leary.
I think Viper will like this.
His own spearman is screwing up his blacksmith. Finally moves it out of the way. Now the blacksmith comes down.
Out just trying to find where the army's moving. Skirmishers nicely positioned. Viper should not find anything here. This could be all 3 archers down.
Yep. Oh, and definitely could be all 3 archers down with the delayed reaction off of the first hit. Great micro here from Leary. Would expect him to chase this 3rd and final one down, and a phenomenal defense over his woodline. Viper does have something in the back of Leary's base, looping around those golds.
It has to be some other archers, right?
Yeah, shouldn't be in scouts yet. He only has 1 on the field. So yeah, it's the 2 spears, 2 archers here, but the best they're going to do is idle some farms and harass a little bit, force a response out of Leary.
On food right now for the Viper. Doesn't feel like he can afford too many scouts, but that will be a nice pickoff. And he actually saves one archer.
Save one archer, yeah. He's got like 4 health, but still, that's better than nothing. Now the 2 scouts will chase down these skirmishers. Leary, of course, retreated with the rest of them back to his wood line and has moved to that secondary wood line. I'm always looking at the stone counts just to see if either player feels pressured enough that they have to drop a tower on that second wood line.
What are those
Usually the
skirms?
position
What are those
for it.
skirms doing?
I don't know what that grouping was. That's even more threat. And now they're out of position for the archers. That's 1 villager down. These are fletching archers, and there's 3 of them. Oh, my goodness. Leary's pulling the whole wood line to try and fight this back, but the micro's there for the Viper. 2 vills found already. Now the scouts swoop in. They do need to avoid getting hit by those skirms and those spears behind that video on the side of the screen. Okay, the scouts are pushed back. Now scouts arrive here for Leary. They're going to push the archers back in the end, but that's some great Vil kills found by the Viper. The first one to do any eco damage.
I want to see a second stable here. I want to see a feudal age all in. It just feels so open, right?
Yeah.
You can go for more archers. That can be a dead villager as well.
He's going to see it just like that. Now, of course, we do have skirms here to defend, but with 1 scout, should be able to push those skirmishers back, and the archers can ultimately target the Vil down. Vil on the run. Will probably get away in the end just because the skirmishers will pay enough of a defense against the archers, but still doesn't get the outpost down that he wanted for that early warning system. Has to pull more scouts back in response. Ends up cleaning up the archers, which is nice.
Viper rushes Castle Age. He's on stone. He built a tower and is building the market. He will actually do exactly the opposite of what I wanted to see.
Okay, and as is pretty typical, the other player also goes for a tower.
Yeah.
There's always this reticence to dropping the tower on this map, I feel like. And
What
then
is
once
this mining camp?
that is an awful mining camp.
What is... Is it Tuesday? What is that?
Yeah, a bit peculiar, but also maybe speaks to the moment, right? Speaks to the fact that we are in Game 7 and these players can feel the pressure of their tournament lives being on the line. Only 1 game stands between them and a best-of-9 final against Terra.
All right. Great grand final. That will be a pleasure to watch. What is this villager up to? Is it just him running around? Wanted to go to the center, and now he's
You got a wallet.
below the critical 20 HP that you want.
Takes the fight. Needs to drop the walls if he wants to save this.
Can't wall on the stone. Is he clicking him back? He's sending some army there. So weird.
Oh, 5 health. That's what, 2 hits?
3.
3 hits? Yeah, 3 hits. And the Vil goes down. Wow.
Oh. Viper now even with the stone upgrade.
It's kind of devastating, to be honest. You are already down 2-0 in the Eco KD, and now it's 3-0. Of course, Viper doesn't know that. But the economy looking very good here for the Armenians player. A minute to go to the Castle Age. Just about at Castle Age resources here for Leary. Clicks up in this moment. Archers camped just outside of vision here for the Viper. He's waiting for Castle. He's going to go for those archer upgrades, and then he's going to look for a devastating blow, probably to the wood line here with crossbow. Also investing into bloodlines, though, on top of it.
Where can he dive? Is he actually finding anything? Because skirms are defending there. There's a tower. The gold is kind of walled off. Massive walls now for Leary at the bottom. It feels like the sneaky move, but I don't think there's a real opening.
I'm wondering, I wouldn't have gone for bloodlines there because that's preventing me from getting bodkin and crossbow. And now I only get one of the 2. I guess he's just about to have the food, so it makes me a liar
It's
in
the
that,
Viper.
and that's why he's the pro and I'm not. It is going to be crossbow and bodkin. I wonder, with just that tech advantage, could you fight up against these skirms? Probably not. Underneath the
You're
tower.
you're outranging them so hard.
are.
So that's really nice.
Look
Whoa.
at that.
Wilson in the center.
Wait! That is so next level!
He can't get in there yet.
He can't, but neither... Oh, actually, Leary broke through, so I take it all back. I thought it was the next level
Crossbow's
epic
in.
play.
Where is he diving? Could be next to the woodline. Denies the second stable on it. Yeah, the second stable. Can fight with those skirmishers. They don't have the armor yet.
Yep, don't have armor, and as we mentioned, Viper does have the range advantage, so if the micro's there, he can whittle those numbers down. Leary, at the very least, is buying space for the stable to go up in the end. Now we're 1 for 2 on the trade here. Skirms into the crossbows.
First knight should be around here, no? Where is he?
Yeah, they're coming
he went
forward
through the
now.
center.
1 through the center, 1 through the outside.
Look at the stone for the Viper. Where is he building it? I think he just wants to
He's
chop
coming
through.
forward. Through the middle, right? Or no, that's just the Mangonel coming forward through the middle. Scorpion, rather.
Trying to block. should be so fast. He should really focus on getting the wood upgrade first. Let's take a look here. The crossbows want to focus down the camel knight against the skirmisher, but numbers are just so much better for Leary.
Yeah, this is a great trade for Leary. He was able to close the gap there with the skirmishers before Viper reacted. So the crossbows go down, and the knight ultimately doesn't stand a chance against these camels. Now, of course, Viper does have control of the middle with that siege workshop and the monastery going down. It's elite skirm on the other side with bowsaw as well to improve the eco here for Leary. I wonder how he responds, though, when he sees this in the middle fortified church as well coming up, just to add that somewhat defensive structure. Now moves for the castle. This could be a big battle between the players. There's no castle drop opportunity for Leary, but there is good army numbers here. The camels are out. The walls come down, but there are skirms as well behind. He doesn't get all the walls up around that castle. The villagers have to retreat for the time being. Viper trying his best to establish a forward position, but the military looks so good for Leary.
Delete.
Yeah.
It just makes so much sense. 1,000 stone in the bank. He could even go for a second castle pretty soon. That is good enough for him for now.
Yep. He's going to take control of part of the center part of the map. He's going to be able to get onto gold for the long term. He's got a monk out to deal with those camels. Can always garrison that back into the fortified church. The camels are coming forward, looking to go onto the mangonel. Great gates here from the Viper. He's feeling himself, y'all. Huge amounts of villagers in the center of the map, making sure that this castle goes up, drops the meal cart immediately onto gold, and back to wood with the rest of his villagers. In just a bit of time, he's going to have enough for another castle drop, probably creeping forward through the center of the map.
Then he needs another mangonel, right? Otherwise, he can't really gain too much ground. Otherwise, it will be just the space that he already wanted to build the first one. Wouldn't excite me that much.
Now, there's that TC on the extra food positions there for Leary. So, again, probably realizing that now is not the time to contest for the gold in the middle. There's tons of gold on this map around the edges. It is not that important that you fight for the center if your opponent has already taken control of it. So opting more to expand the economy and then maybe later come back to the middle with the proper siege and the Imperial Age to push the Viper back.
What a weird army there. A monk, a knight, a composite bowman, and a scorpion blocking in the wood line. Viper now expanding over here. Is that castle territory or just...
Well, he's got enough for a TC and a castle.
Oh, he's lacking wood right now. Maybe he wants to wait a bit.
Mango doesn't find the Vills. Good garrison by the Viper. Just so much safety at the middle of the... Ooh.
Easy find.
Oh, this is a huge find here for Leary. It's just a mill at the... Oh, he's trying to avoid the outpost, and it's preventing him from seeing the mill.
How unlucky
He got
for Leary.
outplayed by an outpost.
Oh, that's so unlucky.
Oh, that could have been so devastating for the Viper. Remember, just on one TC, that would have equalized the Vill count and set Leary up to take the advantage. And instead, he swoops around. Still damage could be found. I see some gold villagers in the back. Perhaps he'll land on those. And that is a good number of camels. Decides to swoop in here towards the farms. Now the Viper, though, is aware of the raid happening in the back of his base. One Vill did fall. What's his response? Does he have military back here? He's just got a couple composite bowmen here. The walls come in around this stone just to save that one villager. But I think there's enough camel numbers here to push all of these bowmen back. Villager on the run as well. Honestly, that felt so lucky for the Viper to get away with very little damage there.
Viper can't get the resource on the map. That's not a pretty castle. Needs to take a good fight with the mangonel. Okay, one good shot here. That's nice for him. But that castle, is that achieving that much?
No, it's not what you want. I mean, it is securing a great Treb position for the late game. Again, if Leary ever wants to contest, now you're oof.
Yeah, he gives it up.
He does give it up. I don't blame him. He doesn't have the military to fight that mangonel back, but it is just some wasted time. It's some wasted stone. Still enough in the bank to ultimately drop another castle. Still enough in the bank to drop more TCs, but the wood count isn't there.
But we'll play fast in with like 60 villagers. Brace obviously will be nice. Composite bowman ignoring all the armor. That second castle, it's still not really protecting the gold.
No, this is tough. You can feel it. I mean, he wants the second castle just to increase the production, right? You can build bowmen out of one, trebs out of another. When you're in the Imperial Age, try to win with just those tech advantages. But you're taking a lot of damage now on the other side of the map. You can't fight these skirmishers and the camels at the same time, so all the numbers that you just built up are about to fall. going for that university now behind as he's close to those Imperial Age resources to click up. Leary, of course, nowhere near the Imperial Age, goes for a third TC back at home. He's going to keep building a villager advantage. What was a deficit before has now become a double-digit lead for him as we speak. More kills come through on the composite bowman. That castle still hasn't gone up. This is really, really tough for the Viper.
Doesn't really know where to build the castle, struggling with it for such a long time now. Still no second wood upgrade. That really hurts for Armenians as well.
Extremely difficult situation. You just look at the top of your screens on the right-hand side, folks. You see such a diverse investment into military units, but therefore none of it really packing a significant
HP
punch.
on the castle. I think it's getting really close.
700 and dropping. We have 3 mangonels that are firing. Leary with the response there as Viper looks to trade it out. One villager coming forward just to try to get a couple taps onto that castle and keep it alive. Of course, mangonels shouldn't be diving underneath the castle of their own. One goes down here in the end for Leary, but the castle's about to die, and I don't think Viper's going to be able to keep it up. The delete comes through to save the remaining stone, but Imp is on the way.
What are we gaining with Imp? Yeah, we can build a trap. Yeah, we can do...
It's Bracer and a Treb.
Bracer. Yeah,
Bracer and a Treb is what we get out of that. And now an even more slightly conservative castle position just next to the fortified church so that the mangonels can... Oh my goodness, another phenomenal find here by Leary. He's just got the map swarming with his own units, catching every move that the Viper makes. 6 villagers looking to go down, and again, making Viper's life hell in trying to get this castle position established.
Incredible. The awareness of Leary, like every single time we switch the screen, it feels like Leary is making another great move. If it's a raid, if it's Mangonel Micro, if it's some pressure anywhere.
Yeah, still on 1 TC and probably 1 TC for the next bit of time is TheViper. He's trying desperately to get this castle to complete. Imp is about to come in, 25 seconds away. The repair vills are forward, though, by Leary. They do end up getting sniped, and it's 1 mangonel against 2. Camel swooping in, looking for the kill. Fantastic target fire there from the Viper, though, to at least get one of those mangoes and keep his own alive. The composite bow number is growing in the center of the map. Imp is in, but look at the resources. He only has enough to build 1 treb when it comes to gold.
Is he building a second university next to his town center?
No way. He deleted it, whatever it was.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now sells a lot of wood, some food, really to get to gold. Kind of crazy how he has the center control, but can't really get gold.
Exactly. Yeah, at the time being, it's looking pretty rough for him. I mean, most of his vills are committed. That should be on gold to finishing that castle. He does have the 1 trebuchet in the queue. He was able to get the upgrades that we talked about in the bracer and the ballistic, but it's a single unit army composition supported by trebs. It's all or nothing at this point for the Viper.
Yeah, and yeah, you're ignoring armor, but still, skirmishers aren't doing too bad, right? With the extra damage they're doing.
And Leary's not that far behind you. In all honesty, I don't mind being 3 minutes behind the Imperial Age with a 40 villager lead. And honestly, I didn't invest very much in holding this position. It's just a siege workshop that you're going to push back, and then you've got quite some ground to cover before you start threatening my eco.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, there are golds on the side, and Byzantines can work with very little gold anyways, so it just feels like having 37 farms against 18 is the main storyline here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this comes down to the players' understanding of the Civ matchup. As we explained, the Byzantines should ultimately be slight favorites in this matchup and probably greater favorites the further you go into the game, being, again, so versatile and having great access to great trash units, as well as options across the board when it comes to Cav and the Cataphracts. And on the other side, it felt like Viper needed to do damage, so he took some risks in trying to get that early central positioning, the faster Imperial Age timing, but he was punished.
Almost a bowman at the bottom, running into 3 mangonels. That could be horrible for him.
Oh, that's tough. He does realize just before the shots come through and backs off, and at least he'll have information about where this castle is going down, but that means it's much tougher to get into Leary's eco. Now he's going to try and loop those bowmen back around to group up with his main force, and he should be able to do so without taking a hit from the mangonels. 50 seconds on the clock here for Leary in making it to the Imperial Age ballistics and that second armor upgrade coming in for the Cav. He's got a pretty diverse composition of his own, light Cav, elite skirm, and some camels.
I think we need to see more villagers on gold. Viper's economy is just so low. Uh-oh. Dash.
Oh no, this is so brutal. It's just 3 light cav, but 3 light cav are going to find a couple of
No,
kills.
the TC could have finished.
He was literally there. And I think it was just a moment. You know, you're not checking that TC health. When you see that raid, you just feel that you need to run. But a bunch of villagers go down. What was already a huge eco disadvantage gets all that much worse for the Viper. Leary sitting at 144 pop, double his opponent, and looking in great shape to take this game.
Now attacks into light cap, but only 60 on food. Those composite bowmen are not really doing anything. Those traps, yeah, they're clearing up some houses, but that's not the most important thing right now. Composite bowmen now here for the defense, but Leary is controlling the whole map.
Yeah, the Viper's going to show us some fight because it's the 7th and final map, so it's this or nothing if he wants to keep himself alive for an opportunity to face Hera tomorrow. But right now, it's Leary who's in the driver's seat. It's Leary who has control of the game. It's Leary who, if things continue as they are, will make his way to that grand final tomorrow and have an opportunity to take a tournament victory here at the end of the year, finding beautiful snipes onto Monks in the back of the Viper's base, chasing off Bowman with those elite skirmishers, raiding on the side in the food economy, looping more light cav around. More than happy to concede the center part of the map, saying, I've got plenty of gold, I've got plenty of villagers, I'll come back for this later.
Yeah, and he will, right? Because he's doing so much damage at the side that Viper, he's just slowly dwindling down. 56 villagers still. He has 3 TCs running, but just losing so many villagers over and over again. Played 1 TC for such a long time. Just not really knowing where to build the second castle. The score is actually really close still.
It is really close. I think a lot of that comes from just the number of buildings that Viper has managed to kill, right? A lot of houses and things going down, but there's somewhat unimportant and unnecessary buildings there for Leary, sitting at 160 population, none of his main economy being threatened in any real way. And for the Viper, with his composition of primarily bowmen, you want them all together, and you want them with trebs pushing in one singular area, and everywhere we go around the map, we see groups of 5 to 10, and we see light cav in response. It's, again, Leary who's dictating the pace of the game. He goes out to the wings, and now he's targeting that first TC here from Viper on the right-hand side. Viper trying to transition a bit into some cav to support light cav of his own, but he just doesn't have the economy to support it.
Yeah, only 1 single armor upgrade there on the light cav. Yeah, he has bloodlines, but that doesn't feel like enough against Bracer chemistry, elite skirmishers here moving forward, and that TC is under a lot of threat.
Yeah, there it goes down. Now the villagers are on the run. Light Cavs swoop in to try and find a few more kills. We've got the composite bowmen working their way over to this side to respond and hold the line. Again, decent here against the Light Cav and the Skirm because they ignore armor. But in the end, cost-efficient trade after cost-efficient trade here from Leary. And again, more Vills go down. Barely being able to keep himself above that 60 mark is the Viper. And ever closer to the pop cap of 200 does Leary creep.
That's such an impressive game by Leary. There was so much pressure in the middle, right? But he knew, okay, you're investing so much, you're struggling with the castle, I'm delaying this, my economy should be had, I can go for elite skirmishers, I'm controlling the sides, I will raid more, I'm controlling the whole map. You can't be in a good spot.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? He conceded the middle without really conceding the middle for too long.
Still made it expensive.
Exactly, exactly. He knew that in the end, Viper was going to get control of that gold, but he just made it that much more difficult for him to do it. He delayed those castles, forced the Vill investment, found some snipes, made it costly, as you said, and all behind that, 3 TCs were pumping Vills, and he finds himself in incredible position, 52 army to his name, 125 Vills behind it. 176 is the population to 97 of the Viper. Viper not ready to call it quits just yet. He's going to fight on and look for any and all opportunities to keep himself alive in this one. But more Vills go down here on the stone. Leary is really applying the pressure now.
Yet another great find here. Viper can't even control this one. Composite Bowman, still a great unit, but still the numbers aren't there. We're not elite. He doesn't really get control. And Leary is just happy. Okay, I will give this one up. And now I even get the balls to push through the center.
Exactly. Yeah, as you say, Composite Bowman, great unit. They just can't be everywhere at once. They're not the type of unit to do that. And so, okay, we clear one of these trebuchets out. The Mangonels are now coming forward. Great find there from the Viper. So we'll take any small victories we can if we're in his shoes. But I do feel like Leary is sitting pretty. You see more and more of these techs coming through. He's just making sure that he has all options available to him, even dropping towers here for safety around some of those gold positions on the outside of the map. And largely, I think that's what Viper's sticking in the game for. The fact that he does still have the gold in the center, and if he can manage to keep this game alive for the next, 30-plus minutes, then we're back in a conversation about how important that middle of the map is.
Golden wood upgrades are better for Armenians, right? And he only needs golden wood for composite bowman, needs to go for traps, though, and has a nice find here with the kills. Tower does not go up, but that's a trap where he needs to win.
Oh, he's out of
stone.
Doesn't have enough to buy. The first castle goes down. He does have a second one to fall back to, and that fortified church. But now the TC looks to go down as well. Back below 50 villagers is Viper. Every time we look up there, it feels like the number drops more and more. And Leary is at such a steady and healthy population of his own. Just about to lose a Treb here. Needs to be careful not to throw those away unnecessarily, and does evacuate the area just in time. In the back here, Viper finding some good damage on the wood line. But for all the damage that he finds, we could probably look back across the map to see some blinking lights in his eco as more light cav arrive to the scene to harass the farmers and the gold miners back there.
Traps trying to defend somehow, but Lightcap are now diving in against the Mangonel. TC completely idle. Those are about to be being cleared off as well.
Okay, now the Mango goes down. The Viper knows it. He did put up a good fight, but he has to acquiesce to the pressure of Leary as we take a look inside the room. Leary up 4-3.
Always comes down to the last game, they're saying. Wow, Leary will advance into the grand finals and will play Hera tomorrow.
What an incredible showing from both of these players, though. We said it pre-match. You heard Doubt say it as well. It always seems to go to the final game between these two, and you could basically flip a coin every time with who comes out the victor. It is about execution on the day, and today, Leary was just an ounce better.
Yeah. It's just, I wanted to see a best of 11 between those two. And I'm pretty sure we would have gone to the 11th game there as well. It was so close, so diverse when it came to strategies. And we think that every time Viper played really aggressively, it paid off for him.
Yeah. Well, maybe this would be the one time he played semi-aggressively and it didn't. I don't even know if you could classify that as aggressive, right? The castle placement. It wasn't necessarily so aggressive in terms of trying to deal damage, but it was pretty all-in that if it didn't work, it would not have ultimately worked out in his favor. Nilly, I think, is going to step away and get ready for an interview with our Victor Leary, who is making his triumphant walk over to our back force interview area. So until Leary takes his seat, you guys get me to celebrate what was an incredible semi-final day. Obviously, in so many ways, the dominance that we expect out of Hera in booking his trip to the grand finals there over Yo, and then a much tighter series here between Leary and the Viper, with Leary getting his opportunity to strike at Hera. See if he can take down the guy who has dominated the scene for the last couple of years. It's been touted here as the era of Hera. We'll see if we exit 2024 still saying the same thing. I will be curious to hear from Leary about his thoughts on this series alone, the matchup against the Viper, and the closeness that it always does seem to result in a seventh and final map. And by the same token, what kind of form does he feel he's in going up against Hera just tomorrow? Of course, I think the guys are just about ready. And so with that, I'm going to hand things off to Nilly and your Victor, Leary.
Damn, it feels like Dash was happy that he could witness that great set, but you have to feel even more happy. How much pressure did you feel going into that set today?
A lot, right? It's always pressure. Semifinals, quarterfinals, round of 6, group stage. No matter what tournament it is, there's always some sort of pressure, and especially in a LAN, where there's people all around. You know, you have your opponent 2 meters next to you. It just adds extra pressure. So even more relieved.
And yesterday evening, you actually spent another some hours together with Hera and tried to prepare. What was your main focus?
Just practicing. I played Sunburn again. People might not realize it, but I practiced that map again. Did not work out. Maybe I shouldn't have practiced. But yeah, it's just to go all over the focus and go over the games again, focus on the draft, see the picks, see the bans, analyze some of his drafts, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and it felt like you wanted to prioritize Bedouins and Chinese, right?
Yeah, big mistake.
We can talk about that a bit later. There, you were really close getting that villager here. Would have been a great opening. But still, you used that villager, that scout, and saw the archer range. What was your immediate response then?
It was either make my own skirms or towers. And since I already had a stone and Saracens, I want to play the market anyway. Towers just made more sense.
Felt like it also, like, how do we move the skirms from island to island?
Yeah, it's also
because
annoying.
he's hopping, that's really tough.
Yeah.
But then you had the center control quite a bit. What were your steps to make sure that you secure this game?
Don't get surrounded by fires. The left on there was a situation where he tried to trap me, but I kind of explored it, so I went back. And yeah, I think in late game Saracens are just better. No matter Arabia or this map, they just scale better than Japanese. So yeah.
Yeah, Mascarians, I also loved your demos.
True, yeah, those were good as well.
Did you like
To secure a bit more.
focus on that a bit more? I would have not like envisioned you as someone that heavily focuses on demos.
I even checked before the game if they had demos, so just to make sure.
Okay, so you were aware of the threat at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are just crazy fights. How those 10 cannon galleons? Like, what would you guess? Like, how many dogs did you kill?
16.
Yeah, like we guessed like 20, 25. It was just crazy, like full clockwise. Went around there.
That's
Just
so good.
such a beautiful, and you protected them so incredibly well.
There's not much you can do. I mean, galleons against galleons, I just fire faster. Then he has to mix in some fire ships, but then I have demos, so and also I had the ink advantage, so it just played from there.
Yeah, and then we had Sunburn.
Yeah.
You,
Great.
how did your training go?
I thought he would go FC Scorps on my ass, but didn't work out apparently. Like he just went scouts and archers. I was thinking about Skirm Spear. That would counter his strat pretty well, but I was like, no way he goes for that. Like I'm sure he goes for like some FC, some insane strat. Because it was also his first pick after the two bans. So I thought he had like something prepared. And I'm like blind countering the FC, but did not work out the way.
You pushed the deer from very far away there.
Yeah, and I had to. I was like 50 foot off my castle edge. I had like idle, 1 minute idle TC as well.
Yeah, it was really brutal. Then that's actually really great micro by you, how you micro away those villagers. But yeah, you just took so much damage. As you can see, he's 12 villagers ahead.
Yeah,
here.
it's just over from this position on.
It's just pure mind games, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Skirm opening and you're performing like so much better. It's just like
it's an even game.
But it's a bit of like blind rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, it is, because Scorpions, I believe, counter the Spear Skirm, or at least Khmer, I imagine.
I think so as well, yeah.
So, yeah.
But like, why did you decide to go for that? Because you're more of the guy that I would think wants to scout and then wants to make educated decisions.
Well, I thought he would go Scorpions, and then I have to go FC as well. And since he's Khmer, he will be up faster. He doesn't need buildings. So I wanted to push as many deers as possible to like squeeze that little extra time in my castle edge in. That's why.
So there's no option like adding 2 farms, pushing a deer less.
Maybe, but then I might just lose against Scorpions as well. So it just delays my castle edge time by 30 seconds, 1 minute. So
Yeah.
it was all in or nothing. In this case, nothing.
Yeah. It just felt really unfortunate for you. We had some highlight seats. And here, this one was interesting. Your first pick when it came to Civ and map.
Yeah. My stall was horrendous. Like my TC was awful. His TC was up like I think 1.5 vills earlier.
Yeah.
I realized from the score I was already demoralized after I made my TC.
Romans build faster.
I know, but like it barely makes a difference. I tested it, and then my shorefish villagers, those were at least protected. I didn't explore him. I thought he was going to go FC. Then he went blind scouts. It's like disaster game left and right.
The 3 scouts found so much there.
Yeah.
It just felt like CA was a unit that didn't really pay off, right? He was already walled, was going for siege, short distance.
Yeah. It's hard because monks, pikes, scorpions, CA can find some value, but they didn't in my case.
Yeah, and
Great CA.
It is just tricky to find any engagements here. I actually got to some good onager shots.
Yeah, I got to clean up here as well, but his eco is just better as well with Romans, so if the game is ever even, I prefer Romans, and in this case, it was pretty even.
Yeah, you got some nice raids in, but just the mass siege. It is just Chinese struggle so much with onagers, right? And then Scorpions in addition to that.
Yeah, the Scorpions are like free as well, so they're like trash units, so it doesn't feel good to ever engage against them, even with onagers. And I have to kill like 5 Scorpions to make it worth, and eventually I'm just gonna lose.
Yeah. How easy was it for you to shake this one off?
I mean, I knew there was the possibility of him picking Romans there, and Romans theoretically in late game have a good matchup. I thought I could still win it with like some timings and like some scouts into archers or whatever. But yeah, it was a tough one. I had to go back to my roots of Arabia.
Speaking about timings, did you expect that this army is getting cleared up by scouts only?
Yeah. As soon as I saw 4, 5, 6 scouts before I moved out, I knew his army was gonna get cleaned up. I didn't even bother doing fletching. I knew he was gonna go commit full scouts. What did surprise me was his castle edge timing. I'm surprised he got up as fast as me. Did he sell?
I don't think so. No,
Crazy.
just like he had like 9 farms when you had 1. Like you stayed on sheep very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I also had to quick wall. Yeah, makes sense.
But here, like those, you had 2 open goals. He had 2 open goals. Did you identify that at any point in the game?
I realized in feudal age, but it didn't really make a huge difference on what I was planning to do.
Okay, you just wanted to play CA.
Yeah, especially he didn't have a range, so it was easy for me to just mass CA, even from one range. And then the crossbow still got value, still harassing left and right. And it was way harder for him to play than it was for me.
What's the Mal? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, what's the approach there for Malians?
You have to open range maybe, or make a range eventually, I'm not sure. But Tatar scale better in late game, right? So.
And then we got this beautiful game. How do you think you got the advantage there?
I think I was really ahead when we both reached Castle Edge. Just like I made Bosa right away, I made Jillnets on the way up, like there was no way I'm not ahead. And neither of us really took any damage. And then in Castle Edge, it was harder to play. I thought I would catch his Camel Archers eventually. He just ran around, he was playing cat and mouse with me. And then eventually I didn't get him. And then he got in through a palisade. And then it was all mess all over.
And then this game, this was tricky when it came to decision making.
I didn't know what was coming. I didn't know if he was booming behind the castle drop. I didn't know if he was going fast aim. I checked his score. He didn't go fast aim. Then he went imp after all. Then I guess Vitoria's. It's like, it was a good strat by him. And I also played relatively poorly.
Vitoria was basically at the end. I don't think, it might not even finished.
Yeah.
So it was like mainly his 1 TC economy there with 50 villagers. Obviously got to 4 relics relatively quickly in addition to that. Only drops the Vitoria now that you can see 3 TC. It just felt
Too
like
much.
it is tough to scout on this map, right?
Yeah, it's impossible. Yeah. And I even stonewalled, which I normally wouldn't do. 4 layers and didn't make a difference.
You even did fortified wall the game before.
Yeah, I know.
Really try hard it.
Yeah.
And here, Byzantines against Armenians. What do you think about the matchup?
Just make skirms and win, pretty much. But it was still annoying because he sent like 3 or 4 groups of archers around, then scouts as well, so it was really hard for me to play. And I think I messed up a little bit in feudal age. He got some damage and he played that really well. But going into castle age, that villager killed him. I was like, I lost. That villager should have died like 4 times. Like I should have gotten him and his family. Like it's crazy. But then I lost 2 scouts basically there, and I was like, no way.
That was a nice find by you. If the second knight actually arrives there, it's getting tricky. And now we're getting into the phase with the castle dance.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize what you're doing there?
I didn't expect the castle, but in hindsight it makes sense, right? What other units does he go for? They ignore armor, so they actually do relatively good against skirms. But I knew I just had to expand, don't really care about gold too much. Because I'm Byzantines, I have cheaper skirms, and skirms are really good against Armenians. So as long as I raid him and he doesn't get 2 champs, I'm good.
Yeah, so you felt really comfortable, basically.
Yeah, after I got those raids in around his base, I felt really confident. Then I looked at the score, it was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Also, I delayed his castle like 4 times.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that gave me a lot of advantage as well.
I think he felt like the fortified church might protect him a bit more than it actually did.
I thought so as well. That thing didn't do anything.
I think it only has 5 range or something.
Yeah, and doesn't shoot many arrows. Like.
Yeah, well, you need things inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here the final trap war. Like he was struggling quite a bit with population, as you can see. Pop 80 here, you rated him so incredibly well. Was there ever a moment where you felt like, okay, you could still lose this game?
Early castle edge. When I dropped the castle, I was a bit scared. I didn't know what was coming. Then I delayed it a little bit, then I delayed it a second time, and then I knew, okay, if I don't mess up too much, I just expand, play skirms, and win.
Yeah, and we saw how much it meant to you. Like, you were like breathing heavily quite after you won the game and walking over here.
It also means I'm invited to the garrison now, so there was like extra stakes in the line.
Yeah, that's actually pretty nice.
I thought about it before the last game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did that add pressure?
Of course. But I thought about it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, you don't have to go through qualifier there as well. So making another offline tournament and, well, obviously providing more sets. But let's talk about tomorrow, the big best of 9. Last time...
Oh, it's best of 9 now.
I'm not sure if, like, best of X, check Wikipedia.
We'll see.
Best of 9 I'm allowed to confirm best of 9. I think starting time will move a bit earlier compared to what initially was planned. You guys know the source where to find all that information. Last time best of 9, you against Hera, NAC 4.
I remember the Burgundian game.
The last game.
Flemish Revolution. Thank God that tech got nerfed.
Or maybe you could have known that Cataphracts countered them and Hand Cannons countered them. And
But you also had other units, I remember.
But you lost 5 games against them. But still,
I also won 4.
an incredible set. We can agree on that. What can we expect tomorrow?
Probably similar. He's the best player by far right now. And, I have to play picture perfect to win any games. And we obviously practice quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
So we know each other in and out. Let's see who can surprise each other.
But what can you do? What can you do now? You have like 18 more hours till you play. How do you get a strategy to surprise him?
It's hard to get a strategy now. It's all over the place because there's like random bans who can still screw you or like screw him as well. Then we obviously know our play styles. We know what we prefer to play. We know our approaches to every single map as well. So it's like it will be a lot of mind games as well.
How many sets did you practice with him before the event?
Before the event, not many. I think I went in like 1 maybe. Because I had the WWC going on, but during this week I practiced quite a lot with Hard and him a few sets as well. So.
Okay, give me your prediction.
5-4.
5-4.
But for me this way, I have the revenge.
Nice. Would be I would love to see 9 games again. Thank you so much, Leary. I'm excited to see your games tomorrow. And that was truly a golden series there. And well,
Thank you.
To end it off, we will give you the Lionberger golden moment of the day. See you tomorrow.